Chapter 76, You're a bully, and you like being a bully. You're a pig. Miss, you wanted to see me. When she arrived at the office, Shelley saw her lady boss, who looked unhappy, and she understood why she was in a bad mood when she thought about what had just happened. I wanted to make that Cai Mingze the spokesperson for our group as a way to make up for the loss of the cooperation with the company of Cai Kuanping, but that Cai Mingze dared to touch my daughter Mu Hanshua. They, the Cai family, are looking for death. So, what you mean is for me to wipe out the Cai family? Seeing what the young lady meant, Shelley said indifferently, as if she were talking about something extremely ordinary. After all, in front of their Mu family, the small demon capital Cai family honestly couldn't even be considered an ant. That won't be necessary. The trivial Cai family is just a small player. They can be spared the death penalty, but they can't escape the living penalty. Give the order to terminate all business dealings between the Tianji group and the Cai family. Also, have someone keep an eye on Cai Mingze. If that brat dares to retaliate, kill him directly. This. Yes, Mississippi. Shelley nodded after a moment's hesitation. She understood what her mistress meant. It was nothing more than a way to let Cai Mingze know that he had suffered a great loss due to the previous cooperation between the two families, and that by sparing his life, the two sides were drawing a line between them. If Cai Mingze did not know when to back down, he would only have a dead end ahead of him. Creak. As Mu Hanshue gave her orders, the office door was pushed open, and then came a happy voice. Mommy, we're here. Before the sound had finished, the two little guys ran in, all at once, and dove into their mother's arms, giving her a mua kiss. This scene made Shelley smile, and seeing these two little guys made her feel a lot better. Master. Shelley saw Yi Xian and nodded slightly. If it were before, she certainly would not have done so, but the more she came into contact with him, the more she discovered that this master was no ordinary person. Moreover, she had not forgotten the killer incident outside the stadium at all, and until now, they still had a high suspicion of being the killer, although she could not find any evidence. Yi Xian, who did not react much, nodded slightly. Mu Hanshue hugged the two little ones for a while. Shelley, you take them out, Yi Xian and I have something to discuss. No one is allowed to come in without my order. Yes, miss. Afterwards, she turned to the two little ones and said, Go out and play with Auntie Shelley, Daddy and Mummy have to talk about work. Oh. Then Daddy and Mummy, you hurry up. Next, the office was left with just Yi Xian and Mu Hanshi, and the atmosphere fell into a sustained silence. Eventually, at a certain moment, Mu Hanshi's pretty face was full of guilt. I'm sorry, I didn't know this would happen. You know what? If it weren't for the concern that it might have a bad impact on the Tianji group, Cai Mingze would already be a corpse. A flat voice came out, and Mu Hanshi didn't doubt for a second that this guy would kill Cai Mingze, because he could indeed do it. Then, Yi Xian stepped forward and looked out the window at the beautiful view of the city. No one in this world can bully my daughter, Yi Xian. Dare to touch my daughter, whoever he is, he will only have a dead end. Looking at Yi Xian's back and listening to his domineering words, Mu Hanshue's heart was moved. For some reason, she put her arms around Yi Xian's waist from behind, and the two car lights were tightly pressed against his back. I'm sorry, it won't happen again, I promise. A sweet and gentle voice sounded. At this moment, where was the domineering female president of Tianji Group and Mu Hanshue? She was completely a gentle and adorable little girl. An enchanting atmosphere suddenly arose in the office. After Mu Hanshue's voice faded, the office fell into an unprecedented silence. A stunning girl tightly embraced a handsome guy with a stunning appearance, and the scenery was picturesque. 10 seconds. Half a minute. 1 minute. I don't know how long it lasted. Yi Xian, who had turned around, embraced the peerless beauty in his arms. They gazed into each other's eyes, and sparks flew. A French kiss ensued, and then it appeared from the office. The invisible dog food, with the two people at the center, instantly filled every corner of the CEO's office. Ding! Congratulations to the host for successfully redeeming and using the Divine Sound blocking card. The effect covers the entire office and costs the host 10 daddy points. 1 hour. The simplified version of the sound blocking card is used. As for why, it's simple. How could Yi Xian end with just a French kiss? In no time at all, there was a fierce battle in the room. If it weren't for the sound blocking card, it is estimated that the entire floor could hear everything clearly. 5 minutes. 10 minutes. 15 minutes. The battle continued, and it was not known how many heights had been captured. Finally, after more than half an hour, the battle subsided. Although it was only a short half hour, the heights had been captured no less than 5 times, and the battle was unprecedentedly fierce. Between the battles, the two little ones waited for a long time in the VIP reception room, and they even ate several pieces of candy that Auntie Shirley gave them. Auntie Lee, are Daddy and Mummy still not finished with their business? Yes, it's so boring here. Tong Tong and Meng Meng said in a pitiful voice, their adorable expressions making people want to give them a cuddle. Shelley gave a small smile and rubbed the heads of the two little ones. Daddy and Mommy are talking about very, very important things and cannot be disturbed. Shelley said this, but of course if she knew that at that moment her own young mistress and young master were having a fierce battle in the room, she would not know whether to go crazy. Of course, she would never know what her young mistress and young master were doing in the office, and just thought they were talking about work. Oh. In that case, let's wait a little longer. Hearing their parents talking about work, the two little ones sensibly continued playing. Their parents had said that they could only play with them after finishing work. They had conquered another high ground. Mu Hanxue was already half naked in the arms of some bastard, while Yi Xian was embracing his beautiful woman and enjoying the warmth after conquering the high ground. After about 5 or 6 minutes of tenderness, Mu Hanxue's slender, green jade-like fingers drew circles on Yi Xian's chest. You big jerk, you just know how to bully me. Bully you? No, you're obviously very happy. Even if you are bullying me, you are very happy about it. He embraced the beauty's waist, which was too small to hold in his hands, and laughed teasingly. Mu Hanxue's pretty face flushed. You oomph. No one likes being bullied by you, you're a big pig. She glared fiercely at Yi Xian, not caring at all that she was naked, or to be more precise, she was already used to it. As such, it can be seen that habit is an extremely terrifying thing. Haha, really? She laughed and teased the peerless beauty. That's not how you acted just now. P.S. Please don't stop updating and keep posting for the love of it. The author has something to say. Thanks to Superscript 2, user 2739610, different, Zhang Jian, Yunyao who loves Master Kongzhu Joy, the gold-eating worm from the Hall of the Sage, user 28891661, the Jiaotiangang Xiaoyabil, the Jiaotiangang's best man, user 2739610, Ji Shuai, who loves stir-fried shrimp, the new leader of the Gang of Thieves, Mangling, by Xayan, who loves chicken stew, Ghost Honey, Boredom is Playing, Inu, the master who loves casserole noodles, Father of Justice, Duan Mulaoja, who likes Jean. Yiyu, the 9 llamas, who loves Red Bull Joe Llama, Mo Haran, Xianling Password, and Jiruosu, De Jiang Jin Tai Lang of Kunwa Mountain, Willie Yulong, King of Glory, Lu Hai who loves stir-frying minced meat with garlic chives, user 91439122, Huan Yen Meng, Loli 558167776 and other big shots have rewarded me. Thank you for your support. Chapter 77, I want to borrow your man. You still say that. Hearing the words of the big pig's trotter, Mu Hanxue wanted to bite the guy to death. It was so hateful. How could this bastard be so shameless? It's all his fault. After a little flirting, Mu Hanxue gave Yi Xian a white eye. I've already told Shelley to pay attention to that Cai Mingze. If he dares to do anything to my daughter again, kill him where he stands. As for the image spokesperson, since Cai Mingze is courting death himself, let Frost take the role. I'll call Frost right now. Ignoring the beautiful scenery exposed in front of the big pig's feet, she took out her phone and dialed her best friend's number, while warning Yi Xian not to mess around. But how could Yi Xian, who was holding his beloved, do nothing? His large hand tightly gripped the car light, which made Mu Hanxue almost have the urge to bite him to death. Hearing her best friend's almost sleep-talking voice, Ning Shuang'er on the other side slightly furrowed her eyebrows. Hanxue, are you okay? No. I'm fine, just a bug crawling on my leg. Mu Hanxue glared fiercely at Yi Xian. This bastard actually dared to do that while she was talking to her best friend on the phone. Oh, I see. Ning Shuang'er on the other side let out a little gasp. Mu Hanxue gave Yi Xian a white look and hastily told her about the matter of letting her be the image spokesperson for the Tianji group, because she was afraid that the bastard would do something else to her, and most importantly, it would be bad if her best friend heard anything out of the blue. Image spokesperson? That's not a problem, but I want to borrow your man. Mu Hanxue, air. Giggle, don't get me wrong, I mean I want to use your man to help me boost the popularity of my concert at the end of the domestic concert tour in a few days in the imperial capital. Oh, that, no. No problem. That's all for now. I have an emergency, I'll talk to Yi Xian. Do. Before she could finish speaking, Mu Hanxue hung up on him, and then she fixed Yi Xian with a fierce glare. You big jerk, you ought to die. I'll see to it that you're completely drained dry. Luckily, she hung up quickly, or else she definitely would have revealed her true identity. Then, a storm of thunder and lightning raged on, and a 300-round battle quietly began. The battle lasted nearly half an hour before it finally ended, and even the divine level sound blocking card was used for the second time. Finally, at a certain moment, the office door opened, and Yi Xian and Mu Hanshua, whose rosy complexion added to her charm, arrived in the VIP reception room. "Wow, Daddy and Mommy, you're finally out, we've been waiting a long time. Our little tummies are hungry." The two little ones chattered cutely about their parents, obviously blaming them for ignoring them for so long. "Well, weren't you parents, talking about things?" When it comes to talking about things, Mu Hancha's face flushed for a fleeting moment. She couldn't believe that so much had happened in just over an hour. The day passed quickly, and Yi Xian also became familiar with the security department of the Tianji group. However, just as time was brewing, the incident of Yi Xian brutally beating Cai Mingze, a top celebrity in the entertainment industry, in front of the Tianji building, was widely reported online by various reporters. Tianya, a forum. Holy cow, what? Yi Xian, the music prodigy who became a god after one battle, beat Cai Mingze, a top celebrity in the entertainment industry. My goodness, that Yi Xian is so skilled, more than 10 bodyguards were no match for him. Cai Mingze is too weak, not even in the same league. OMG, Yi Xian is so cool, so manly. For a while, the incident of Yi Xian torturing Cai Mingze was directly pushed to the top of the search list. One thing that cannot be denied is that Cai Mingze's star path will be affected immeasurably. Forums were flooded, the internet erupted, and then the terrifying butterfly effect of the internet unfolded, with every major platform and website falling. However, there were also many brainwashed fans of Cai Mingze who engaged in online violence and verbal abuse against Yi Xian. However, in the face of the huge internet effect, it was clear that the energy of these brainwashed fans was utterly futile. Cai's family private hospital, luxury ward. Pop. Seeing the almost violent comments online, Cai Mingze's lungs exploded with anger, and a mouthful of backflowing blood spurted out. His teeth clenched and creaked, and his side face was full of ugly resentment from the crushing fracture. Yi Xian. If I don't kill you, I'm not called Cai Mingze. Cai Mingze, with a cold face, took out his phone and dialed a number. "Hey, get me some online trolls, the more the better." Cai, are you sure? I have nearly 200 million online trolls at my disposal, but if you want them all, it'll cost at least 30 million. The head of the online troll army on the other end of the line laughed heartily when he heard Cai Mingze's words. 200 million online trolls, that's a huge order. Okay, I'll take the 200 million online trolls. I want to take down an entire person named Yi Xian, a kid who has had a stroke of luck in the music industry. I want him to be disgraced. As he spoke, Cai Mingze clenched his fists. If possible, he would really like to skin Yi Xian alive to ease the hatred in his heart. He understood very well that the repercussions of this incident would be extremely great, even immeasurable, once it spread. 200 million internet army members to take down one person? The head of the opposing water army was stunned, but soon understood. It seems that the person named Yi Xian is in for a bad time. Don't worry, he's just a kid. The head of the water army assured him, patting his chest. 200 million water army soldiers can't solve a problem for a mere kid. If that were the case, he would just take a block of tofu and crash into a wall. At least, that's what he thought at the moment. After hanging up the phone, Cai Mingze let out a sneer, his eyes cold and bright. Yi Xian. Hello? Very good. This time, even the King of Heaven can't save you. It has to be said that the efficiency of the internet army is still very high. Soon, the online trend of Yi Xian abusing and beating Cai Mingze quietly shifted, and it was directly replaced by various black materials from Yi Xian. Obviously, this was all the work of Cai Mingze. Mudu University, dormitory. Looking at the angry black materials online, it even slandered Tong Tong and Meng Meng as bastards born out of wedlock. After reading this, Lin Xiaoda and Wang Linlu Tiger cursed Cai Mingze as a dog. Bastard, that Cai Mingze doesn't even spare children, you motherfucker. Lin Xiaoya was ashen, and he was just waiting to get rid of Cai Mingze. It's so hateful, mad, this is definitely the water army hired by Cai Mingze. Nima, how much does this cost? It's so despicable. Damn it, Cai Mingze, I'll fuck your ancestors 8 generations. Wang Lin and Lu Feihu were also full of anger, and they transformed into key gods, cracking their keyboards and launching a furious war of words with the online army. At the same time, the entire Shanghai University was in an uproar, and soon everyone developed a strong sense of hostility towards Cai Mingze. Damn it! Is that son of a bitch looking for death? Senior Yi Xian is their pride, and just a few hours ago, he helped them win the Battle of Music against Xuanwu University. For a while, everyone at Xuanwu University who could breathe was against the countless online water armies, and the verbal attacks were incessant. However, the number of water armies hired by Cai Mingze was really too large, and the situation was still extremely unfavorable for Yi Xian. Daddy, 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 a lot of people on the internet are saying bad things about you. Those people are so bad. In a private dining room at a restaurant near Tianji Building, the two little ones fidgeted with their phones, their cute little faces full of displeasure. Those who slandered Baba were all bad people. Mu Hanchua heard what the two little ones said, took out her phone, and looked it up. As she did, she happened to see the hot comment born of a mother but not raised by one. Her face turned cold as ice. Cai Mingze. How dare you? Mu Shui has been in control of the Tianji group for many years, and she has seen it all. This scene was definitely done by Cai Mingze. That Cai Mingze is rushing to his death. Defaming her man and even touching his two daughters. No matter which one, that Cai Mingze will definitely die. Her beautiful eyes flashed with a cold light. At this moment, Mu Hanshi was really angry, and she directly dialed Xiuli's phone number. Hey, Xiuli, immediately suppress the online public opinion, and that Cai Mingze, who doesn't know when he's dying, since he's looking for death, then I'll grant him that. Yes, Mississippi. Li was not surprised by Mrs. Anger, because she had also seen all kinds of extreme online opinions. Her eyes narrowed. Cai Mingze, you are bringing disaster to the entire Cai family. Without hesitation, she directly called the phone number of the online army she had worked with for many years. After one call, an overwhelming number of online army members appeared online. 200 million? 300 million? 500 million? No. Xiaoli knew the seriousness of the situation and directly mobilized all the water army at her disposal. As for the number, it was exactly 1 billion. 1 billion water army. What does that mean? It would paralyze major websites and platforms. No one knows how many people were mobilized behind these 1 billion water army accounts. Even if one person controls 100 accounts, it would still take 10 million people to operate them. There is no denying that the influx of 1 billion water army accounts directly dumbfounded the water army that Cai Mingze had hired. Their absolute advantage was instantly reduced to nothing. One after the other, their forum websites were taken over. No one knew who was behind the attacks, except that there were far more of them than them. Cai Mingze, who was waiting for news in a private hospital's luxury ward, then received a call from the head of the water army. Without any nonsense, he directly interrupted the mission and returned half of the commission, 15 million. Was this a joke? Although the person who struck from the opposite side was unknown, it was definitely someone he could not afford to offend. Stunned, Cai Mingze looked at the 15 million that had arrived in his hands. He froze in place, and after a long time, he was exasperated and his face was gloomy. Waste. Since you can't ruin your reputation, then just die. Cai Mingze was not discouraged, but instead he hatched another evil plan. He directly dialed the Blood Murder Organization's phone number and posted an assassination mission with 15 million. However, it was this mission that led him and the demon capital Cai family to their doom. Cai Mingze would never know at this moment that the Blood Murder Organization, which seemed to him to be extremely ruthless, was actually the Mu family's biggest client. Chapter 78, The End of the Cai Family. The evidence collection card detonates the entire network. Cai family, outside the private hospital in the shadows. Ding dong. A message came through, and when Cai Mingze looked down at his phone, the content appeared. Cai Mingze spent 15 million to release a task to assassinate Yi Xian in my organization. Blood Demon Organization. Ha! That damn thing, after all, has finally made a move. A wicked smile appeared at the corner of Gue Ying's mouth. As early as before, he received an order from Xiaoli and came to the private hospital to wait. Once there was any movement, he would immediately kill him. The phone rang, and when she saw it was Xiaoli, she hurriedly answered it. When she learned of the order from Xiaoli, she looked in the direction of the hospital again, and the murderous intent in her eyes surged even more. Yes, Xiaoli. After hanging up the phone, Gue Ying's mouth revealed a sinister smile. What a nerve. Not only did she issue a mission to assassinate the master, she also slandered the little princess online and even insulted the young lady. With a sneer, Gue Ying's figure flashed, and the next moment, she disappeared from her original location. As a master second only to Xiaoli, Gue Ying's strength was unquestionable. A moment later. Without alerting anyone, there was an additional figure in Cai Mingze's room. The black nightclothes were out of place in the white hospital room, but before he could react, a silver needle precisely entered the mute point on his neck, preventing him from making a sound. Cai Mingze? How dare you offend the young master and do harm to our little princess? You really have guts. Cai Mingze could not speak, and his eyes were filled with fear and unease. It's your fault for offending the wrong person. In your next life, be careful what you do. Then, with a few blood-curdling sounds, Cai Mingze's limbs were cut directly at the arteries, and blood gushed out from between them, instantly staining the hospital bed red. Cai Mingze was terrified, his pupils dilated to the extreme. The intense pain made him want to scream, but he couldn't. He didn't dare to think that the guy who appeared like a ghost was so ruthless as to kill him right away. You're lucky to die of blood loss. After finishing, the dagger in the ghost's hand appeared. What was terrifying was that there wasn't even a drop of blood on the dagger in his hand, which obviously showed how fast he had acted. After the sound of his voice faded, the figure vanished again with a swipe of his feet. From the moment the figure entered the room to the moment he severed the artery and left, it took no more than 3 seconds. At this point, Cai Mingze's countdown to death had begun. 1 minute. 2 minutes. 3 minutes. The blood stained the hospital bed, then dripped to the ground, forming a pool of blood that spread in all directions, turning the luxurious hospital room into a hellish battlefield. After about 5 or 6 minutes, Cai Mingze's face turned as white as snow, and the last glimmer of consciousness dissipated. It was also at this moment that his life ended. However, although Cai Mingze was dead, the matter did not end there. This was only the beginning. Ding! Congratulations to the host for successfully redeeming and using the evidence collection card, which targets Cai Mingze and costs the host 10 daddy points. Then, Yi Xian's inventory was filled with a file containing all the evidence of Cai Mingze's crimes. He had broken no less than 10 laws, and it could be said that he had committed every crime imaginable. And most importantly, he was responsible for 3 deaths. With a thought, Yi Xian sent the file through the system to all major online platforms. No surprise, the already dead Cai Mingze became an instant sensation again. The mandatory pop-up comments could not be cancelled at all, and would only be turned off after they had been seen. Countless netizens went straight into a frenzy. Holy cow, that Cai Mingze is an animal, he's actually wooed so many girls. Damn, scum, it's not too much to say that someone like this deserves to be tortured to death. 3 lives, it's unbelievable. He was a top star. Cai Mingze is such an asshole. I can't believe I was a fan of his before. What a blind idiot. What the hell? People like him deserve to spend the rest of their lives in prison. For a while, Cai Mingze was blasted by countless netizens. The head of the water army, who had previously been in contact with Cai Mingze, was so scared that cold sweat kept rolling down his forehead. Damn, I never thought that I had been working with an animal all these years. This is terrible. Subsequently, all brand endorsements and films and television programs related to Cai Mingze were taken off the shelves and the contracts unilaterally terminated. Who would dare to have anything to do with Cai Mingze at this time? Cai Mingze became a pariah overnight as a result of the publication of the anonymous document on the entire network. He was definitely discredited, and after this wave, it was more than just discredited. Just then, another wave of shocking news came out, with photos as evidence. In the photos, Cai Mingze was tragically lying dead on his sickbed, and the entire room was covered in bloodstains. The final conclusion reached by the Department of Justice was, Cai Mingze committed suicide out of fear of the crime, and he brought this upon himself. However, those inside the Department of Justice knew that this was no suicide. It was clear that Cai Mingze's limbs had been cut off at the arteries, and he bled to death. The other party's cruelty in carrying out the murder was enough to rank among the top 3 of all the cases they had experienced. As for the public announcement that he committed suicide out of fear of the crime, the blame is self-inflicted, because this incident was so heinous that if the public was informed that it was murder, it would definitely cause unnecessary unrest, so this decision was made, and it is not unfair to Cai Mingze. His crime is not worth more than 10 executions. Undeniably, this move was very effective, the public's emotions were calmed down, and the situation was no longer so severe. At the same time, on the other side, the University of Devil City was denounced in words and in writing. Ha! Lin Xiaoya, who was still in his dormitory celebrating, was a little confused when he saw the news that Cai Mingze, a popular first-tier star, had committed suicide to avoid punishment, as well as various pieces of incriminating evidence online. Damn, this Cai Mingze knows how to have fun, with so many different positions. He's definitely an expert. Lu Feihu, a single dog, has never eaten pork, but he has seen a lot of pigs running. This Cai Mingze is much better than those movies, but unfortunately, his stamina is a bit poor, lasting less than 10 minutes. Shanghai, Cai family. While there were rising voices of criticism from the outside world, Cai Kuanping's eyes were red and his face full of grief. His beloved son had died tragically, and the murderer was at large. Cai Kuanping found the whole thing completely unacceptable. Master, there is something fishy about the death of the young master. Just before that, the young master contacted the naval forces in order to bring Yi Xian to ruin, but in the end, he failed. After that, he contacted the blood murder organization to prepare for an assassination, and then the young master died in a strange way. And the center of all this is related to one person, and that person is Yi Xian. If someone most wanted the young master dead, I'm afraid that person is the biggest suspect. Ha! Yi Xian. Cai Kuanping's eyes flashed with cold light when he heard this name. Of course he knew this person, it was this person who caused his son to lose his reputation. It can be said that even if his son did not die, he would not let that kid go. There are people from the blood murder organization, that kid. Facing the blood murder organization, Cai Kuanping knew that they were completely unworthy of being looked at, but his only son was killed. How could he swallow this humiliation? Since it didn't work domestically, then he would hire foreign assassins. Who? Contact the people from the Cherry Blossom Society and tell them that if they kill Yi Xian, I will agree to their merger plan. He let out a deep breath, and Cai Kuanping's face was full of ferocity. If he could not even avenge his son's death, how could he establish himself in the Demon City and talk about carrying the Cai family name forward? Merger plan? Upon hearing Cai Kuanping's words, the face of his trusted subordinate changed. Master, think twice. The Kuanping Group is the result of half a lifetime of hard work by the master, and the Cherry Blossom Club wants to merge with our group, which is definitely ill-intentioned. Agreeing to their merger is absolutely like asking a tiger for its hide, and we may well get nothing in the end. The subordinate wanted to say something else, but Cai Kuanping put up his hand to stop him. Okay, my mind is made up. Get ready immediately. I can make more money if I lose the money, but if that kid doesn't die, how can I face the death of my son? Cai Kuanping of course knew that the Cherry Blossom Club had evil intentions, but so what? They were using him, and now he was using them. As long as he could get rid of that kid, even if it meant the end of the Kuanping Group, so be it. Yes, sir. I'll contact the Cherry Blossom Club immediately. After saying that, the subordinate turned around and left the study. Cai Kuanping looked into the distance of the nightfall of the magical city, let out a deep breath, and his eyes shone with a terrifying cold light. Cherry Blossom Club, even the blood-killing organization fears you. Yi Xian, whether you are related to the death of my son or not, you will die. He was able to easily deal with the family's elite master chosen for his son, and that guy was undoubtedly highly suspicious. Then he muttered and looked in the direction of Fuso, Sakura Club. I hope you won't let me down. Chapter 79, If I scare all of you with my ghost story, you will have to serve me tonight. At the Kowloon Villa. Auntie Chen has prepared a big table full of dishes to celebrate Master becoming the security minister of the Tianji group. Of course, she knows that Cai Mingze is targeting her, but she is not too worried. After all, she has Miss by her side, and the Cai family is not powerful enough to make waves. Daddy, will you tell us a story? After a while of eating, Tong Tong blinked her big eyes at her father. You want a story? Seeing Tong Tong's hopeful expression, he couldn't help but think of the story he told last time about the college student who was cheated in the mountain village and the story about the man who castrated himself for the woman. But let's not hear a story like that last time, we want to hear a ghost story. Meng Meng, who is usually so timid, said expectantly. During the day, she and her sister read a ghost story book together. It was also after reading the ghost story that she really liked this kind of story. However, she wasn't scared at all in the book, so she set her sights on the omnipotent Daddy. Daddy tells super good stories, and the ghost stories must be super good too. Ghost stories? Why would children want to listen to that? Why don't I tell you a story about Little Red Riding Hood? Once upon a time, there was a little girl called Little Red Riding Hood, and she. Before Yi Xian could start to tell the story, the two little ones' faces paled, and they covered their ears with their tiny hands while shaking their heads like a rattle. No, Tong Tong doesn't want to hear it. Ghost stories, Meng Meng wants to hear ghost stories, Daddy tells ghost stories. Unsurprisingly, the two little ones were extremely resistant, but they were super fond of ghost stories at the moment. Yi Xian. He looked at the two little ones, but Mu Hanchue, who was standing nearby, saw the big pig's feet that had bullied her at the office during the day get deflated, and she burst out laughing. She smiled wickedly, enjoying the show, and said teasingly, "Hey, I'm telling you, you can't tell ghost stories, so just say so if you can't." Ha! Seeing Mu Hanshue's provocation, Yi Xian smiled meaningfully. "Really? I didn't want to tell it originally, but since you put it that way, I'll tell you a ghost story. I really don't know if the Horse King has 3 eyes if I don't show this girl a good time." "Really? He, I knew that you were too good, super spoiling us." The two little ones said with a smile, and gave their father a close, intimate kiss on the side of his face. They knew that their father would not refuse, and they were looking forward to his ghost story. "Humph, really?" Mu Hanchua snorted in disbelief, and couldn't help but say, "I'll see what kind of flower you can tell." "Ha, in that case, how about a bet?" Seeing Mu Hanshue's expression of disbelief, it was quite a good idea to dote on her daughter while reaping a wave of benefits. Another bet. Upon hearing about a bet, Mu Hanshue couldn't help but her eyelids twitched slightly. They bet, and she had never won, but, being stubborn, she gritted her teeth and tentatively asked, "What do you say we bet?" With the experience of her previous failures, she would not easily fall for this big pig's trap. She must be careful, very careful. She took in the wary look on her daughter-in-law's face and nodded slightly with a smile. "It's very simple. Don't you believe I can tell a good ghost story? If the ghost story I tell scares all of you, you will serve me tonight." Mu Hanshua. Hearing the shameless bastard's arrogant words, Mu Hanshua's pretty face suddenly flushed. Auntie Chen and several maids were stunned when they heard the words of the new master. Oh no, to be precise, the words of the already master. In particular, several maids couldn't help but blush slightly when they thought of the master's ghostly hand speed, because they had experienced it a lot in their dreams during this period of time. Now that they heard that the master wanted to sleep with the young lady, they really wished they could immediately take the young lady's place and admit defeat, and then start the operation of sleeping with her. "Kiki, wow, are you going to bet again, Daddy? Mommy is going to lose again." The two little ones didn't expect that they wanted to hear ghost stories, but that their father and mother were going to bet. Their little faces looked at their mother with ill intent. After all, their mother was no match for their father when it came to betting. "You." Mu Hanshue almost coughed up a mouthful of old blood when she heard what the two little ones said. How could these two little ones behave like this? This is going to make their mother cough up blood and die. Mu Hanshi, who had been hesitant, was so provoked by the two little ones that she immediately agreed, gritted her teeth, and said, "Okay. I promise." She paused, her beautiful eyes fixed on the big jerk, and said, "But if I win, you have to sleep by yourself for 10 days, no, a month." Wow! When Tongtong and Meng Meng saw their mother's bet, they opened their mouths wide and stared at their father, making him sleep alone for a month. Their mother was so cruel that they could no longer play catch with her and eat cherries together. If Mu Hanshi knew what the two little ones were thinking, she would hang them up and beat them. Cough, cough. Auntie Chan also coughed dryly when she heard this. Sleeping alone for a month is too obvious, it's completely the rhythm of abstinence for a month. However, this has excited a few maidservants. The reason for their excitement is that if master sleeps alone for a month, they might have a chance. Although they dare not, as long as the young lady does not find out, they can still have a good time. Unavoidably, several maidens of school beauty level had a scene after scene of the young master sleeping alone for a month, and a beautiful encounter that might happen with themselves, floating in their minds. "I agree." Ignoring Mu Hanchi's death stare, a faint voice came out. It was Yi Xian's indifferent voice, making Mu Hanchi feel that her coercion had completely hit cotton wool. "Humph. Let's see how long you can pretend." Mu Hanchua snorted, thinking that it was impossible to conquer them all with ghost stories. The more she thought about it, the more impossible it seemed. Unable to help herself, Mu Hanchua's mind already conjured up the scene of that big pig's foot sleeping alone for a month. Just thinking about it was enjoyable, and she couldn't wait to make that damned big jerk die of grief. "Really? I hope you'll win, but let me be clear, don't cry and whine when you lose." "Pish, you're the one crying. I always keep my word. If you're capable, I'll serve you tonight." The arrow was on the string and had to be fired. In order to make that damned bastard stay alone in his room for a month, Mu Hanshi was also desperate. Of course, there was also the thought that Mu Hanshi wanted to avenge her previous humiliation. After all, before, she had lost in a way that was not ordinary. "Don't be so verbose, just get started." Glared at Yi Xian. The guy was so annoying that she wanted to bite him to death and then eat him inch by inch. Since someone is so eager to serve as your bed partner, then I will grant your wish. Muhanchua, you, ha! Biting his silver teeth tightly, Muhanchua really wanted to bite the bastard to death. But seeing the peerless beauty in such a state, he couldn't help but smile slightly. For nothing else, even if it was for the bet of serving as his bedmate tonight, he, Yi Xian, was certain to win. No one, not even the King of Heaven, could stop him from having a beautiful wife serve as his bedmate. The author has something to say. Thanks to the new leader of the Fried Sky Gang, Mengling Su Lawu, who likes wasps the power of evil, Hui Xinghai International's Yu Yalong Shogu, who loves to eat Du Shintang the handsome man who likes Longshu at Chao Fried Sky Gang Xiao Bail Zong Lua, who loves to eat chicken stewed with straw mushrooms Shui at Jiao Futong, Shen Chi, Sweet Dream Girl, user 2365764, My Xiaojiu, Thunder Lord, user 311783990, user 2739610, Tang Xian who loves mouth-watering wine, Huang Huang who loves spicy kimchi and tofu, Yisha Jiu, Zhongshui Piaoyi, user 229540558, CO, 11018677. 10655013. Chapter 80, that was so good. Baba's ghost story was super exciting. Baba, hurry up and start. We can't wait. The two little ones chattered and urged, and Auntie Chen and several maids were also looking forward to the next ghost story from the young master. If the young master won, he would be able to enjoy the butterflies and chase the cherries with the young lady while sleeping together. If he lost, he would have to endure a month of loneliness. However, at the moment, Yi Xian was doing something else, and it had to do with the effect of the next bet. Ding! Congratulations to the host for redeeming the Divine Voice Immersion card, which costs the host 10 daddy points. Divine Voice Immersion card, the host who possesses this card will have the ability to immerse the listener in the sound wherever their voice reaches, making the listener feel as if they are actually there. The specific effects can be explored by the host. Not bad. Yi Xian of course had his own confidence. It was completely impossible to stay alone in an empty house for a month, and it was impossible to stay alone in an empty house for a month in this life. Therefore, without hesitation, he directly used the God-level sound immersion card, and immediately began telling ghost stories. The God-level sound immersion card instantly enveloped the entire living room of the villa, and everything was taking place imperceptibly. Muhanchua, Aunt Chen, and the others completely failed to notice the slightest abnormality. The living room was silent, everyone waiting for the beginning of the ghost story. Finally, at a certain moment, the voice of Yi Xiansen rose. A doctor was on his way home after finishing an emergency call. It was already midnight. When he reached the elevator, he saw a female nurse, so they took the elevator together to go downstairs, but the elevator didn't stop at the first floor, and it just kept going down. As Yi Xian's chilling voice rang in her ears, Muhanchua, who had not really cared much about it before, could not help but feel her heart tighten. This feeling was very strange. It was as if she were in the middle of Yi Xian's ghost story, and she had somehow become the doctor. It was dark as pitch, and a ghost might appear at any moment. She was alone in the elevator, looking at the floors as it descended into the basement. What's even worse is that Yi Xian here has also created a wisp of evil wind-cool breeze with divine control of the heavens, which makes the bad feeling even more real. In order to have his peerless wife serve him in bed, Yi Xian really went to the point of insanity. Of course, the effect was also excellent. A gust of evil wind blew, and Muhanchua, who was already in the scene of a ghost story, as well as Aunt Chen and the others, all felt a tightening in their hearts. For some reason, they all had a bad feeling. When they reached B3, the door opened. The elevator door opened, and a little girl appeared before them, bowing her head and saying that she wanted to take the elevator. The doctor hurriedly closed the elevator door upon seeing this, and the nurse asked curiously, "Why don't you let her come up?" The doctor said, "B3 is the morgue of our hospital. The hospital ties a red ribbon to the right hand of every corpse. Her right hand has a red ribbon." Upon hearing this, Muhanchua's beautiful eyes paused slightly, accompanied by a cold wind. A red ribbon was tied around the corpse in the morgue, and that little girl was a ghost. It is worth mentioning that when the two little ones heard the scary ghost story, their little faces were a little unnatural, but their big, sparkling eyes were full of excitement and anticipation. Not only that, but the two little ones looked at their father with admiration. The ghost stories their father told were really good, super scary, and exciting. However, the two little ones did not notice that the pretty faces of the maids were pale with fear, clearly frightened by their father's ghost story. But that was not the end of the ghost story. Before the crowd could further their fear, Yi Xuanyou's eerie voice resounded again, accompanied by a gust of wind. The nurse listened, gradually extended her right hand, and said with a sinister smile, "Isn't it a red string like this?" "Ah. One maid, unable to hold back for a moment, let out a loud scream. It seemed as if she saw a nurse in the elevator in front of her, extending her right hand with a hideous grin, showing her the red ribbon. Gulp. Gulp gulp. The other maids around her, already scared out of their wits, added to the screams, shuddering with horror. Gulping, she swallowed her saliva and looked at the young master again. Her eyes had changed, her face pale. This is, the ghost story the young master told is so scary, so scary. Auntie Chen also had a slightly changed expression, and as for Mu Hanshi, she looked at that big pig's foot with a complex expression, that bastard, telling ghost stories so scary. It was clear that Mu Hanshi had also been scared, especially by the maid's scream, as if she had seen the nurse with the red ribbon around her hand pouncing at her with a hideous face. Wow wow wow. That was great, Daddy's ghost stories are super exciting. Can you tell us another one, please, 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 please. Please, 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 please. My goodness, just one ghost story was enough to scare them, and if there were a few more, they would be so scared that they would crawl into the master's arms. Although they dare not and cannot, are the two little princesses not scared at all? Looking at the two little ones' excited and impatient expressions, the corners of the mouths of the maidservants kept twitching. They just couldn't understand it. The two little ones were clearly only a little over 2 years old, but how did they have more guts than they did? If this was an ordinary little one who was a little over 2 years old, they were afraid that they would have already cried from fear. Could it be the damnedly powerful genes? This young master and the two little princesses are really one who dares to speak and one who dares to listen. But they really don't want to hear it anymore. The master's ghost stories are so scary. Stop it, you kids shouldn't be afraid of hearing ghost stories and dreaming. Mu Hanshue glared at the two little ones and said reproachfully. Of course, she obviously didn't want to be scared by the ghost stories again. For some reason, this big pig's voice seemed to have a kind of magic, always leading her thoughts into the world of the ghost stories. No, are you scared, Mommy? Mommy must be scared to sleep with Daddy at night. The two little ones kept talking without stopping, and Mu Hanshua's pretty face flushed as she listened. She couldn't help but grit her teeth. Who's scared? Humph, if Mommy isn't scared, why doesn't she let Daddy tell us a really good ghost story? We won't be scared, and we'll definitely have sweet dreams after listening to Daddy's ghost story. Mu Hanshua. Auntie Chan and the maids. Listen to the master's ghost story and have sweet dreams? Cough cough. Is it really true? Oh my, it's definitely your biological child. After he finished, the two little ones stared at their father with big, wide eyes, not blinking an eye, their hopeful expressions making him unable to hold back a smile. Dad, let's begin. Really? The maids had not yet recovered from the ghost story and their faces had turned slightly pale before it had even begun. Seeing that the two little ones were not at all afraid, and looking at Mu Hanshua's nervous expression, she understood at a glance and spoke gently, Okay, then Daddy will tell you another ghost story about the midnight bus station. Midnight bus station. Just hearing this word, with the effect of the God-level sound immersion card, Mu Hanshue and the others felt as if they had arrived directly at the midnight bus stop under the street lamps, wrapped in the darkness of night. At this moment, a creepy voice sounded faintly. There was a boy who had to take the bus home at night, but because he arrived at the bus stop too late, he wasn't sure if there was still a bus, and he didn't want to walk. Because his home was very far away and isolated, he had to wait for the last bus, and he waited and waited. When he thought there was no bus, he suddenly saw a bus appear in the distance. The wind was blowing, and the appearance of the last bus made Mu Hanshua and several maids feel a sudden chill. Obviously, they knew that this bus was the center of a ghost story. In particular, the maid's beautiful eyes were full of anxiety and panic. No, young master, stop, we don't want it. P.S. Thanks to Shanghai International's Yuya Long for the 5 likes for the urge to update charm, Shuat for the urge to update charm, and Dajingfu for liking Chen Ci. Thanks also to the urge to update charms from Gai Lin, who loves Si Xian Wanton, and Ed Layet. The young author is very grateful and will get back to writing. The author has something to say. Thanks to the new leader of the Fried Sky Gang Mangling, user 273961000, Lu Sheng of the Qianshan Palace, Tian Dian Yuan, Hui, user 10230737, Pacific Shrimp, Sang Xiaolan, Wei Wenjie, the Holy Fire Sect, the Holy Sun, Gao Lin, who loves for seafood ravioli. Is it really so hard to come up with a name? Zhou Jinwei, Wuhu Takeoff, Bingjos Kellen, user 325100469, Fry the Sky Gang Xiaobail, Fantasy Dream, user 773684436, Meteor Crater, Atlayat, user 17720431, Tainan, Wangyan the Lawless King, user 11024674, Chenjijo who likes camellia trees, Wudi who loves Huaishan bone soup, Stranger, user 358400241, quietly reading a book, user 1226668 Insect, Bing Ching Ching Bing and other big guys gave rewards. Chapter 81, At night, Baba can watch butterflies with Mama again. There was silence in the Kowloon villa. Only the wind whistled, and apart from that, creepy sounds could be heard throughout the living room. It was obvious that the screams of the maids inside were completely useless. He was very excited to hail a taxi. Once he got in, he realized that this last bus was very strange. Logically, there shouldn't be many people on the last bus, because the route is remote, but this bus was full. There was only one empty seat, and there was not a single person on the bus who spoke. He felt a little strange, but still walked over to the only empty seat and sat down. Hearing this, Mu Hanshi and the others felt more and more that something was wrong, and the ghost story continued. As soon as he sat down, the woman whispered to him, "You shouldn't be on this bus," and he was very surprised. The woman continued, "This bus is not for the living. As soon as you got on the bus, they would have grabbed you to be the scapegoat." He was very scared, but didn't know what to do. As a result, the woman told him, "It's okay, I can help you escape." So she dragged him and pulled open the window and jumped off. As they jumped, he heard the voices in the car shouting. He actually let him get away. When he stood firm, he found that they were standing on a desolate hillside. He let out a sigh of relief and hurriedly thanked the woman. Just then, the woman revealed a hideous face with an evil curve. "Now, no one will take it from me." Wow, that was so exciting. That woman was anti-ghost. Daddy is really awesome. Taking advantage of the opportunity while the story was still fresh in their minds, he harvested the attention of the two little ones while smiling at the same time. However, this smile looked like the devil's smile in the eyes of the maids. "Master, you're going to die. This bastard." Mu Hanshui obviously felt uncomfortable here. Yi Xian's voice was really magical. Even though she kept telling herself that it was fake, she still couldn't stop being charmed by the voice of that big pig's trot. "Really? That's great, Mommy, moi." The two little ones were very excited, and kissed their over-pampered mommy's cheeks with a moi sound. They loved it when their mommy over-pampered them like that, he he he. A faint smile, the pale complexion of the peerless beauty is captured in the eye. There was a man who secretly snuck into his girlfriend's house on Valentine's Day. He wanted to surprise her. But then he thought he wanted to have some fun, so he poured a lot of tomato sauce on his face and put on a white sheet. He wanted to scare his girlfriend. Then he ran to the kitchen to see what he had painted himself like. When he looked in the kitchen mirror, he was shocked by the terrifying look on his face. He thought his girlfriend would definitely not be able to stand it. So he hurriedly removed the makeup and waited for his girlfriend to come back. When he told her about it, her eyes widened in disbelief. The man then asked her what was wrong. She said you scared yourself in the kitchen mirror?" While listening to the young master's ghost story, the maids' minds conjured up a series of images. Although they didn't find anything wrong, they knew that the young master's ghost story was definitely not that simple. Sure enough, just as their thoughts were emerging, the man replied, "Yes, it was really scary." But her eyes grew even bigger, her face turning pale. But there was no mirror in the kitchen at all. Ah! Hearing the master's twisted turn of events, she thought about it and became extremely frightened. One of the maids screamed in a divine assist, and her pupils suddenly contracted because just now she felt that the person who had looked in the mirror in the kitchen before was not the man but herself, and what was opposite her was not herself but a hideous ghost. "Sai, Xiaoli, what are you doing? Are you trying to die?" "Ha! I wasn't scared by the master's ghost story, I almost died from you." Several maids chattered and teased their companion, as the master's ghost stories were already beyond their capacity to bear, and now, upon hearing Xiaoli scream like that, they were directly terrified beyond words. Even Mu Hanshue's pretty face turned pale upon hearing Xiaoli scream, and the two little ones' big eyes were filled with fear and excitement. Ding! The host tells his daughter a ghost story for the first time and gains the Divine Appraisal ability. Divine Appraisal: with this ability, the host will have a 100% chance of distinguishing all antiques in calligraphy. There will be no mistakes under this ability, and even internationally renowned appraisal experts are not even considered in the presence of the host. Oh! Opening his skill again, Yi Xian was slightly startled. This god-level treasure appraisal is invincible and the fastest way to make money. There is nothing in the world that can ruin a family as gambling can. Win and you can become rich overnight, lose and you can lose everything. Now that he has Divine Appraisal of Treasures, Yi Xian can be said to have a super cheat for getting rich. Previously, he only knew about the brocade Cheongsam by chance, but now that he has Divine Appraisal of Treasures, the information Yi Xian knows about various domestic and foreign luxury goods and antiques is like the stars in the sky. The two little ones, Tong Tong and Meng Meng, were full of excitement as they listened to the three ghost stories. Daddy is so awesome, this is much better than what they read in books. Daddy is super awesome, I love it so much. He, Daddy is awesome, great ghost stories. It seems that Mummy has lost again. Mu Hanshi listened to the two little ones' sarcasm and cynicism, and her heart felt very bad. She lost to them, and they were so happy about it. They just wanted their father to serve them. Of course. I told you that Mommy wouldn't win. Daddy can watch butterflies and pick cherries with Mommy again tonight. The two little ones, who never failed to shock with their remarks, said this, but they were envious of the several maidens in the villa who were on the level of school beauties. Wow, no way. They also really wanted to watch butterflies and pick cherries with the young master. What if they could watch butterflies and pick cherries with the young master, even if it was just for a night? No, even if it was just for an hour, they would be more than satisfied. The two little ones were more excited than ever before, and couldn't help but twirl their big, quirky eyes. Yes, Daddy, Tong Tong wants to see a magic show. Ha! Upon hearing her sister's words, Meng Meng's big, sparkling eyes widened. Magic? Yes. Daddy, will you do the same romantic magic trick as last time? Magic? When Shen Ai and the maids heard the two little ones' words, they were both stunned. Their eyes quickly fell on the master of the house, and they obviously realized one thing: their master of the house could even do magic. Come on, please? Daddy, please? Unsurprisingly, a wave of puppy love and cuteness was poured out, with the three of them at the center of it, filling every space in the villa with sweet puppy love. Listening to the sweet voices of the two little ones, Yi Xian fondly rubbed the heads of the two little ones. Okay, Daddy will now perform a magic trick for our two little princesses. Chapter 82: Fireflies. Daddy conjured up a lot of fireflies. A short while later, outside the villa, the group arrived at the open lawn, which undoubtedly attracted the attention of more than a dozen bodyguards, who couldn't help but inquire of the maids. When they learned that the young master was going to perform a magic trick, they were all shocked. Young master, you can also conjure up magic. This information undoubtedly took them by surprise, and before they could think about it, the two little ones couldn't wait to say it. Daddy, start now. We're all ready. Hearing the words of his two super cute daughters, Yi Xian gave a smile of affection. Okay. As for Mu Hanshue, she rolled her eyes and looked at the big pig's foot on the lawn. The image of the colorful bubbles in Guishu village that day could not help but come to mind, and her pretty face became hot as she thought about being kissed by that bastard. I'm going to start, don't blink. With the magic of concealment, many incredible things become less incomprehensible. Of course, this allows Yi Xian to display certain abilities without any worries. For example, the divine beast taming, here, and this time, obviously, Yi Xian will not be using the colorful bubbles again. After all, the novelty only lasts the first time. As for the target of this magic, Yi Xian already had an idea a long time ago, but he just never took the two little guys to play with it. Today is a good day to make up for it. Not far from the Kowloon Villa is an endless green jungle. This is the reason for the excellent air quality here. Yi Xian's goal this time is related to the jungle, or to be precise, a creature in the jungle called a firefly. Yes, it's a firefly. The gift he prepared for the two little guys before was the firefly dance. The sound fell, and he pretended to do a few moves, just as he had done before in Guishu village. Then the Divine Beast Taming ability was activated, and in an instant, with Yi Xian at the center, the Divine Beast Taming ability spread to the endless jungle behind Xiaolong Villa. In the blink of an eye, it enveloped the depths of the jungle for several kilometers, and it was still surging deeper. The next moment, countless fireflies boiled. "Ah, Your Majesty! It's the king's call, hurry! The king is calling us!" 1, 10, 100. Fireflies, one after the other, rushed towards the Nine Dragons Villa at top speed, because they had received the king's call, and they dared not slacken for even a moment as they paid their first homage to the king. Look! Those are fireflies! A few seconds after the performance ended, a firefly appeared outside the villa, followed by a second, a third, a fifth. The fireflies danced happily with the light of the fireflies as the center. "Your Majesty! Greeting to the king! I'm so excited, is this the king?" In a short while, there were thousands of fireflies surrounding Yi Xian, illuminating the surroundings faintly, and dozens or hundreds of fireflies were still joining from behind. For a moment, Aunt Shan and the maids were stunned. This is Master Ye's magic. Seeing the scene in the arena, the dozen or so bodyguards at the villa widened their eyes and stared at the arena in disbelief. Even they, with their extensive knowledge, had never seen such magical magic before. The young master's ability was too unexpected. Could it be that the young master used something that attracted fireflies to do all this? Holy cow, look! Just as everyone was pondering, one of the bodyguards sensed something and looked up at the sky above the villa, searching for the source. Everyone was also shocked. A large cluster of fireflies, densely packed with tens of thousands of fireflies each, appeared above the villa. Then, to the stunned amazement of everyone, the fireflies poured down from the sky and landed on the roof, lawn, seats, and corridors of the villa, decorating every inch of it. Wow! The appearance of countless fireflies dazzled the two little ones, and joy and surprise filled their little faces. He, fireflies, Daddy made a lot of fireflies. Daddy, you're amazing, giggling, Meng Meng loves you to death. The two little ones excitedly gave their father a happy hug, and then chased after the fireflies and played. Woof woof. Xiao Tianba saw that his two young masters were so happy, and he was also shaking his tail unsteadily, chasing after the fireflies, and several fireflies were on the tip of his tail. This heartwarming scene made Mu Hanshua feel surprised. She looked at the big paw on the lawn with a slight curve at the corner of its mouth, just like the colorful bubbles from the last time. When did this guy prepare for this? Could it be that he had prepared to show this to the two little ones a long time ago? Thinking about this, Mu Hanshua felt an inexplicable surge of deep emotion. You have to know that it is extremely difficult to implement such fireflies that are scattered everywhere in the villa. For the happiness of her daughter, she can't imagine how much effort and preparation that big jerk has put in. Mu Hanshi couldn't help but burst out laughing. She was of course very happy that her husband loved their daughter so much, but she was also honestly envious. An inexplicable feeling of warmth welled up in her heart, and Mu Hanshi let out a deep sigh of relief. This scene of surprise had undoubtedly shocked her and everyone else in the room. The things that happened today will never be forgotten by her, Mu Hanshi, and she believes that many years from now, Tong Tong and Meng Meng will remember it just as clearly as she does. What a wonderful childhood! When they look back on today in a decade or so, the two little ones will definitely be especially proud and happy. These are the best memories that the big piggy left for the two little ones. Wow, the master is so romantic. A maid, with her hands supporting her rosy cheeks, stared at the fairy tale-like villa lawn in the field with an infatuated expression and a blush of excitement on her pretty face. Yes, the lady and the two little princesses are super happy. Yes, the master must have prepared for this scene for a long time. The master is really amazing. The master is even more romantic and amazing than the Prince Charming I imagined. I can't describe my feelings at the moment in words. Oh. If a guy treated me like that, I would be enemies with the whole world and still want to be with him. Several maids were chatting away, and Auntie Chen looked at the scene with mixed emotions. She had watched Miss Mu Hanshi grow up since she was a child, from birth to the time she started to speak, and she had long since treated her like her own daughter. Seeing how the young master was so attentive to Miss Mu and the two little ones, she was also happy for Miss Mu. Wow, Auntie Chen, look! Just then, the fireflies hovering over the lawn seemed to have heard an order and flew into the air together, forming a firefly pattern in the sky. What's more, the pattern was none other than the faces of the two little ones, Tong Tong and Meng Meng. Not only that, but a string of firefly-made characters also appeared in the sky, reading, "May my two super cute little princesses be happy forever." Suddenly, the moment the pattern and the firefly font appeared, the eyes of everyone in the audience were shocked. Mu Hanshua's beautiful eyes were fixed, and the emotion in her heart was at its peak at this moment, deeply shocked by the scene in front of her. That bastard, how did he do it? P.S. Everyone, here, Meng Meng Tong Tong begs for more chapters in Power Generation with love. Cutesy and adorable. Chapter 83, My Master is the most awesome man I've ever met. Sigh. Looking at the scene in front of them, more than 10 bodyguards were shocked. They couldn't help but exclaim, My master is truly a god. They had only seen such a scene in movies and television, but those were all fake. Now, master's handiwork was right in front of them. Apart from the word godlike, they really couldn't think of anything else to describe their current reaction to the scene. Then, under the attention of everyone, the patterns and words formed by the fireflies suddenly dispersed, turning into a sky full of densely packed fireflies, which was extremely gorgeous and spectacular. But this did not stop. Under Yi Xian's divine beast master, the sky was filled with densely packed fireflies, which then rapidly gathered under precise control, suddenly converging in one place. Then, another pattern gradually emerged. The first to appear was the dragon's tail, followed by the claws, body. At the same time, not far from it on the opposite side, the phoenix's tail, feathers, and body also emerged. 3 seconds. 5 seconds. 10 seconds. The whole process lasted about 10 seconds, and finally a complete pattern was revealed to everyone. The majestic 5-clawed dragon soared into the sky, and the noble phoenix with its gorgeous feathers was also there. The dragon and the phoenix, presented in the sky, looked so lifelike that the dozen bodyguards and several maids were all dumbfounded. This is amazing. Their master is not immortal, is he? Is he using the legendary immortal arts? This is magic, isn't it? Master is so good at magic. A maid was shocked and stunned, staring up at the dragon and phoenix pattern formed by the fireflies in the night sky. It was a work of art, a miracle. Wow! Daddy, it's super beautiful, I love it. Daddy, we love you. The two little ones, Tong Tong and Meng Meng, are so excited. It's so beautiful, so pretty, and Baba is so handsome. Moo-ah. Moo-ah. 2 affectionate, cute kisses landed firmly on the side of Baba's face. The two little ones couldn't stop smiling, their faces full of happiness and sweetness. Baba really does spoil them, it's so sweet. Woof woof. Xiao Tianba saw the 5-clawed dragon and noble phoenix formed by countless fireflies in the night sky, howled at the sky, and looked quite domineering, as if challenging the dragon and phoenix in the night sky. Mu Hanshi was stunned, clearly not expecting that big pig's foot to make such a big fuss. The auspicious dragon and phoenix in the night sky could be clearly seen even from several kilometers away. Anyone who didn't know would definitely think that some local tyrant was setting off custom fireworks. Who? Mom, Master is spoiling the two little princesses too much. I'm so envious of Miss and the two little princesses. Miss was absolutely right to get the young master back. You're right, I think Miss definitely knew that the young master was no ordinary person, otherwise why would she have gotten him back? Yes, Master is the most amazing man I've ever met. The maids chattered excitedly, their big beautiful eyes full of admiration. If possible, they really wanted to give their first time to Master, but they knew that someone like Master could only be matched by someone as outstanding and noble as Miss. Although they envy him, they also know that someone like him is not someone they can hope to marry. The dragon and phoenix were frozen in the night sky for 5 or 6 minutes before they burst into a sea of fireflies, which then danced on the lawn of the villa. The maids were also surrounded by countless fireflies, and everything seemed like a dream, no, even more beautiful than a dream. He. Giggle. The two little ones ran through the lawn surrounded by fireflies, and their innocent laughter spread. Hearing this, Yi Xian's mouth couldn't help but curve into a loving smile. Looking at the happy smiles of the two little ones, everything was worth it. Congratulations, host, you have gained plus 266 daddy points from Tong Tong. Congratulations, host, you have gained plus 266 daddy points from Meng Meng. Congratulations, host, you have earned plus 266 daddy points from Tong Tong. Congratulations, host, you have earned plus 266 daddy points from Meng Meng. Amidst the harvest of daddy points, a magic came to an end. With Yi Xian's command, the fireflies that were hovering on the lawn and falling on the villa dispersed in all directions in an orderly manner. The speed was not fast, but it was not slow either. Soon, all the fireflies in the field returned to the dense forest behind the villa. There was no trace of fluorescence, as if nothing had ever happened. It's getting late, disperse. After looking at the time, he spoke while pulling the spoils of war, oh no, his wife who served him at night, towards the villa. Mu Hanshi instinctively wanted to struggle, but how could she possibly struggle? Kiki, good night, daddy and mummy. The two little ones saw their father dragging their mother to the villa, and obviously knew that their father was going to bully their mother again. However, their mother always looked super beautiful after being bullied. You rascal, go take a bath first. Ugh. Before Mu Hanshi could finish speaking, she was kissed on the red lips, and a quiet war unexpectedly broke out. At this point, the mode of serving as a bedmate was activated. 5 minutes, 10 minutes, half an hour. This battle lasted nearly an hour and a half, and the two fought so fiercely that the sky and earth were darkened, and the sun and moon lost their light. After the battle, they embraced the peerless beauty for a long time. Mu Hanshi fell asleep in Yi Xian's arms, not knowing when. Even with the body transformed by Peach Blossom Immortal Brew, she could not withstand such tossing and turning. Looking at the charming curve that appeared at the corner of the beauty's mouth in his arms, he gave a small smile, took a small sip, and kissed her. It is said that human nature is fickle, but at the moment, the peerless beauty seemed to be an exception. The more he looked at her, the more he liked her. Especially after using Peach Blossom Immortal Brew, Mu Hanshi could say that she could meet all of Yi Xian's requirements. Ding! Reminding the host that an enemy is approaching rapidly, the target may be harmful to the host, 3 kilometers away from the host. After kissing his beautiful wife's lips, the sound of the system's voice came to his mind, and Yi Xian was slightly startled upon hearing it. Enemy? Could it be Cai Mingze's father? But the speed. It was a bit too fast. Without delay, he directly exchanged the perspective tracking card to penetrate the obstacles, and quickly discovered a group of people from a god's perspective. However, when he saw the number of people coming, he couldn't help but be stunned. There were hundreds of people, and each and every one of them was an extraordinary martial artist. Soon, the group stopped 2 kilometers away. The person leading the group looked somewhat familiar. It was none other than Qin Lingyu, the father of Qin Shua. The goal of this time was none other than to kill Yi Xian and the rest of the group at number 1 Kowloon Villa. After some time of investigation, although Qin Lingyu did not have direct evidence to prove that his son's disappearance was related to Yi Xian, he was already 80% sure that Yi Xian was involved. Therefore, after weighing the pros and cons, Qin Lingyu decided to completely break with Mu Hanshi and directly take all the elites of the Qin family, with the success or failure resting on tonight's move. Master, using all the family's experts to assassinate Mu Hanshi, who was only protected by a dozen people, is that really necessary? One of Qin Lingyu's trusted subordinates frowned slightly, obviously not understanding Qin Lingyu's decision. More than 10 bodyguards. Upon hearing his subordinate's words, Qin Lingyu looked coldly in the direction of the Kowloon Villa. Mu Hanshi's woman's more than 10 bodyguards are no pushovers. It would be good if even half of these experts could return, but the situation might be better if we attack by surprise. What? Half, master? Mu Hanshi's bodyguards are that powerful? Qin Lingyu glanced at his trusted subordinate and coldly looked in the direction of the Kowloon Villa. What do you think? The most important reason why we haven't easily moved against that woman Mu Hanshi over the years is because she has more than 10 powerful bodyguards around her. To be honest, if it weren't for Chui's disappearance being related to that Yi Xian, I wouldn't have moved this time. Master? Qin Shu-he? Could it be? This person is Qin Lingyu, the chairman of the demon capital Lingyu Group. If so, it seems that the plan to lay the business world will have to be brought forward. The author has something to say. Chapter 84, Strongly Annihilate, the End of the Qin Family in Demon City. Qin Lingyu came here with more than 100 elite subordinates, in order to accomplish the task in one fell swoop. That Yi Xian must die, and so must everyone in Mu Hanshi. However, he was unaware that their actions had always been in Yi Xian's sights. From the moment they took action, it was already destined that they would not succeed, because they had no idea what kind of existence they were dealing with. Even if Yi Xian didn't have a system, and even if he did, Mu Hanshi alone was someone they couldn't afford to offend. From his god's perspective, he watched Qin Lingyu lead more than 100 elites to assassinate him, and a sneer curled the corner of his mouth. Since you're here, you don't need to go anywhere. Ding! Congratulations to the host for successfully redeeming and using the Divine Sound blocking card. The range of effect is 1 kilometer in all directions, and it costs the host 50 points of daddy points. 1 hour. The system's voice fell, and then centered on Qin Lingyu and his group, the area within 1 kilometer was enveloped by the divine sound blocking card, and no sound within it would be transmitted even the slightest. Ah! The divine sound suppressing card enveloped a 1 kilometer radius. The next moment, a miserable scream came from one of Qin Lingyu's subordinates in the field. The miserable scream was extremely creepy and thrilling in the pitch-black night. What's going on? Hearing his subordinate's miserable scream, Qin Lingyu looked over it the first time, as did the surrounding hundreds of subordinates. Then they saw an incredibly horrifying scene. There were at least thousands of ants, as if they were poison, gnawing at the subordinate who had screamed, and in an instant, he was reduced to a pile of bones. No, to be precise, even the bones were being gnawed at, and soon they were reduced to bone ash. Damn it! What the hell is that, ants? No way, how could ants? Ah, no, I don't want to die. Before any discussion could begin, several piercing screams sounded again, and then the miserable scene appeared once again. Thousands of ants wrapped the three people in terrifying speed, blood flying in all directions, screams and wails, as if the miserable scene of hell was presented before everyone's eyes. Ugh! Finally, several subordinates with shallow stomachs vomited directly on the spot, and the strong, overpowering smell of blood instantly filled the scene. No good. Retreat. Leave this place immediately. Qin Lingyu's face was grave. What had happened in the arena was too strange, far beyond his expectations. Although he didn't know why, leaving here was definitely the safest choice. However, it was obviously too late. The miserable screams pierced the night and spread in all directions. 3, 5, 10. One by one, his subordinates were devoured by the strange ants, their hearts swallowed, and they lay on the ground as cold corpses. It was incredibly terrifying. In an instant, 30 subordinates had died on the spot. Retreat! Retreat quickly! Qin Lingyu was scared at this time, completely scared. How could this be? However, reality showed him what despair was like. The deaths of 30 subordinates was just the beginning. Then came 40, 50, 80. After about a quarter of an hour, the only people left in the field were Qin Lingyu and 5 or 6 surviving subordinates, surrounded together with fear in their eyes, wary of their surroundings. Gulub. Gulub gulub. The sound of swallowing saliva came from the throats of the group, their eyelids twitching uncontrollably. Watching their companions die tragically and then turn into bone ash to be eaten away by ants, they felt a tingling in their scalps, as if the ants were not biting their companions' corpses, but their own bodies. Qin Lingyu was also pale, and no matter what, he never imagined that this scene would happen. Of the hundreds of his subordinates, only 5 or 6 were left beside him. Even if he survived this day, the Qin family would be finished. Are you kidding? With the loss of most of their power, how could he, Qin Lingyu, and the Qin family establish themselves in the demon capital in the future? Da day. Amidst Qin Lingyu's grief and despair, the sound of crisp footsteps came from not far away, followed by the appearance of a figure in the middle of the field. The strange thing was that the ants around them, which they were so terrified of, had lined up on either side by themselves. Even the bloodstains and bone fragments on the ground had been gnawed clean by them, as if they were afraid of being touched by anyone. Qin Lingyu, are you satisfied with this gift from me? Accompanied by the sound of footsteps approaching like an abyssal demon, a voice followed, and soon it came to not far from Qin Lingyu and his entourage, and not a single ant around dared to appear within 1 meter of the person coming. You are Yi Xian. Qin Lingyu's pupils suddenly contracted upon seeing the person coming, and the 5 or 6 surviving subordinates around him also felt a bad feeling in their hearts. Could it be that this guy they wanted to assassinate did all this? It was terrifying to think about. The scene just now, coupled with Yi Xian standing in the middle of the place, made those terrifying ants dare not get close. This scene has already explained everything. It's you. Several subordinates thought of it, and Qin Lingyu also thought of it. An unprecedented murderous intent and resentment suddenly emerged in his eyes. It's him. It's all because of this damnable kid in front of him. If it weren't for him, how would hundreds of subordinates have been wiped out? So what if it's me? He smiled slightly, looking coldly at the resentful Qin Lingyu across from him. Have you forgotten the reason you came here? Do you think I want to wait to be killed by you? Oh, that's right. He paused for a moment, continuing, Qin Shuhua is your son, right? Maybe you haven't found him yet. I killed your son. Then he glanced at the flesh-eating ants that were still gnawing on the corpse. You see, your son's end is the same as theirs, becoming the food of the flesh-eating ants. Boom. As Yi Xian spoke, Qin Lingyu's eyes turned red, and an endless murderous intent surged from his body. You killed Chu He. Ah. Kid, I'll fight you to the death. After repeated stimulation, Qin Lingyu finally broke through the edge of his endurance and collapsed, like a mad beast, pouncing ferociously at Yi Xian. Run! The 5 or 6 surviving subordinates, seeing their master collapse, decisively broke out in all directions, but... Ah! There were thousands of man-eating ants, which devoured the hearts of the 5 or 6 people at lightning speed, leaving a gaping hole in their chests. It looked as if someone had punched them through the heart, and you could see the scenery on the other side through their bodies. At this point, all but Qin Lingyu, who had brought more than 100 subordinates, had died. As soon as the bodies of the 5 or 6 subordinates hit the ground, thousands of ants swarmed up and drowned the 5 or 6 people. Blood was gushing, brains were splattering, and internal organs, bones, tendons, were all bitten by the man-eating ants and became their delicious meal. Damn it! Yi Xian, I want you dead. With the death of the remaining 5 or 6 subordinates, Qin Lingyu was even more furious. It's over. He knew that their Qin family was completely finished. His beloved son was dead, and the family was destroyed. Everything was because of this kid in front of him. Sigh. For Windblades, under the control of the Divine Sky Control, severed all of Qin Lingyu's wrist and ankle arteries. The blood flowed out of the arteries, dripping onto the ground, where it was eaten by the ant. Then, under the control of the magnetic field, Qin Lingyu was suspended in the air. Yi Xian's face was full of coldness. To be honest, if you weren't a threat to my woman and daughter, you wouldn't even have the qualifications to die by my hand. Chapter 85, Natural Disaster, Rain Curtain, World-Ending Thunder. It's cold. A bone-chilling coldness felt like Qin Lingyu's entire body had been frozen in a 1,000-year cold pool, with the surrounding cold air rushing into his body. Even if I become a ghost, I won't let you go. Ah! Before Qin Lingyu could finish speaking, a flash of thunder crackled from the night sky, and the next moment it had already entered his body, causing an incredibly miserable scream to come from him. Obviously, Yi Xian had used another ability of divine control of the heavens, none other than the attribute of controlling thunder within the ability to control the heavens. The power of thunder is so overbearing that it rushed into Qin Lingyu's body, instantly wreaking havoc on his internal organs, 7 meridians, and 8 collaterals, and his entire body was convulsing as his pupils suddenly dilated. As the thunder raged, the blood flow rate increased even faster. Qin Lingyu never imagined that he would die at the hands of the kid he had never taken seriously. Bastard! Who are you? His thoughts were rapidly dispersing, and Qin Lingyu knew that his time was running out. He asked the question that was on his mind, and he wanted to know the identity of his enemy before he died. Who am I? Upon hearing Qin Lingyu's words, Yi Xian's mouth curved up into a smile. Do you believe me when I say that I am not from this world? Ha, you are lucky to be the first person in this world to know the secret. Since you know my greatest secret, then, go to hell. A flash of silver light, and the next moment, Qin Lingyu was pierced through the heart by a steel rod more than a meter long, and his body was smashed towards the ground, his entire body nailed to the ground. Qin Lingyu's body was strangely suspended in the air by the steel rod, his limbs dangling, his eyes wide open, and blood dripping from them. Qin Lingyu's body looked as if it had been drenched in blood, and the scene was extremely miserable. Then, tens of thousands of man-eating ants followed the steel rod and instantly engulfed Qin Lingyu. In less than a second, his entire body turned into ghastly white bones, which then scattered to the ground with a loud noise and were once again gnawed into bone ash by the man-eating ants, just like the bones of his many subordinates, which were completely gone. Qin Lingyu died a miserable death, and the scene fell into a dead silence, except for the endless night sky above, the cold wind blowing, and the thick, nauseating bloody smell that lingered in the air. Hundreds of people were devoured by the man-eating ants, and the smell of blood is so strong. Feeling the strong smell of blood, Yi Xian slightly frowned without thinking much. It seems that a heavy rain is needed for a baptism. Thinking about this, his divine-level sky control ability was used once again. As soon as the thought occurred, there was a sudden thunderclap in the starry night sky, which frightened many people. Outside the Kowloon villa, the dozen or so bodyguards protecting the villa also frowned, looking at the lightning in the sky. Thunder? How come? The broadcast said there would be no rain. One of the bodyguards frowned slightly and said doubtfully. Hey, weather forecasts are only predictions, not necessarily accurate, but today's weather is really strange. You're right, logically speaking, there should be clear skies with a full sky of stars, but the thunder is coming in so strangely. Rumbling. As more than 10 people complained, not only did the thunder and lightning follow, but it also rained heavily. Clattering. Then, a torrential downpour poured down from the night sky, accompanied by flashes of lightning and the sound of thunder. The sky and earth seemed to have turned into an ocean, and visibility was less than 10 meters. Shit. What the hell? When has Shanghai ever had this kind of weather? What a heavy rain. While a dozen bodyguards were discussing the matter, Auntie Chen and a few maids were looking out of the French windows at the sky-covering rain outside the villa. It's been years, and I've never seen rain this heavy. Yes, is this a natural disaster sent from heaven? The chattering maids also discussed it heatedly. Even Auntie Chen frowned slightly, obviously puzzled by the scene here as well, because the rain had come so suddenly and abnormally. Yi Xian, who was 2 kilometers away, looked at the pouring rain from the sky and a smile curved his lips. God-level control of the sky? This ability is really interesting. But if you want to go unnoticed, this is not enough. He muttered, and once again increased the strength of God-level control of the sky. With this thought, the sky in the demon capital was messed up. Boom! The deafening thunder shook the sky, and then the lightning, which was almost like daylight, illuminated every corner of the city. This scene is really strange. However, 2 kilometers away, there was another scene that was even stranger than this one. Amidst the rain curtain, a young man stood in the rain, but no matter how hard it rained, not a single drop fell on him. This young man was none other than Yi Xian, the cause of the torrential rain. The reason why he is not drenched is very simple, because he has the ability of divine-level Magneto. Of course, this is the most direct and most effective ability to achieve this. In addition, in divine-level control of the heavens, apart from rain, wind, lightning and thunder can also achieve this, but it is a bit troublesome to use. When the rain was about to fall on Yi Xian, it seemed that a certain force changed the trajectory of the rain, which then fell to the ground. It looked like it fell on Yi Xian, but in fact, it didn't do anything at all. TSK. Feeling that no water stains had landed on his body, Yi Xian lifted his hands and sighed with emotion. This god-level magnetism ability is truly an all-purpose skill, it's awesome. After muttering, he then lifted his feet and walked towards the villa, leaving behind an endless night and a pouring rain curtain, in addition to the world-shattering thunder and lightning raging across the sky. Not only that, Yi Xian then took out his phone from his pocket as usual and made a call without getting even a drop of rain on it. As for the person he called, it was none other than the business prodigy Su Ziyu, who would be his spokesperson in the business world for a long time to come. Royal Capital Star Mansion, Room 601, Building 8. Wow! Brother, it's raining heavily. Su Xiaoming was wearing a beautiful white princess dress and had a cute little face, so it was hard not to feel a good impression of her. Compared to the little beggar before, Su Xiaoming here had completely turned from an ugly duckling into a swan. Today's rain is really strange. Su Ziyu petted his sister's head, and in the future, apart from his mission of revenge and repaying Yi Xiao, the rest would be his sister. In the future, whoever dares to touch his sister will definitely not be able to survive. Ding dong. Just as the brother and sister were happily talking, a phone call came in. When Su Ziyu saw it was Yi Xiao's phone, he hurriedly answered it. And when he learned the news from the other end, Su Ziyu's eyes sparkled. Is the time to return to the arena finally here? Lu family of the imperial capital, just wait for me. When I return to the imperial capital and kill my way back in, it will be the day your Lu family is destroyed. Chapter 86. That big jerk, using such a lot of strength. Ding dong. Not long after hanging up the phone, Su Zai's phone received a message from Yi Xian. When Qin Lingyu clicked in to take a look, he suddenly became agitated. This is the evidence of Qin Lingyu's and all the directors of Lingyu Group's crimes, and it is damning evidence that is fatal to everyone, and they will even spend the next life in prison. Stunned, he looked at the evidence of guilt in his phone for a long time, and Su Ziyu gasped, and then he was full of confusion and surprise. With so much evidence of guilt, how did Ji Xiao manage to do it? To be honest, it would be impossible to find out about all these incriminating evidence without a decade or two. Even if there were undercover agents among the core members, it would still take 3 to 5 years. With all this incriminating evidence in hand, Su Ziyu had 100 ways to turn Lingyu Group into Yi Xiao's industry. Of course, Su Ziyu was prepared to use the most direct and most effective method, which was to directly contact the directors of Lingyu Group and remind them of the criminal evidence given to them. These operations were what he was best at. Brother, is that Big Brother's phone? She heard a voice from the other side of the line, and Su Xiaoming tilted her head curiously and asked. Ah, yes. He pinched Su Xiaoming's rosy cheeks affectionately and said, I have good news for you. It won't be long before we can go back to the imperial capital, and when we do, I'll make everyone who offended us pay the price. Really? That's great. Su Xiaoming was overjoyed when she heard her brother's words. When they go back, her brother will definitely make those bad guys pay the price. After hanging up the phone, Yi Xian returned to the villa without being noticed. Ding! Congratulations to the host for successfully redeeming and using the body cleansing card, which consumed 1 point of the host's daddy value. All the negative energy around, such as hostility and the smell of blood, was completely removed by the body cleansing card, and the system returned to the state before the prompt. He didn't notice until he had taken off his clothes and crawled into the quilt, continuing to hug the naked beauty. Feeling being hugged by the big pig's feet, Mu Hanshua opened her sleepy eyes dazedly and said, You big bad guy, what are you doing? Nothing, just went to the bathroom. Go to sleep, baby. After saying that, the big hand that was familiar with the way of doing things held the car light, which made Mu Hanshua, who had sleepy eyes, glare at him, but she did not resist, and she leaned against Ji Xian's arm and fell asleep. However, she was oblivious to what had just happened. Hundreds of lives were in the hands of the man hugging her, and with a flip of the hand, their souls returned to hell. The next morning, the golden morning sun poured into the room, dispelling the last vestiges of darkness. The room was filled with a pair of beautiful people embracing each other on the soft bedding. The man was handsome, and the woman was peerless in her beauty. The beautiful woman with peerless beauty woke up sweetly from her sleep, looked at her own pillow on the arm of the big pig's trotter, and the corner of her mouth was still warm and curved, but she felt the 2 headlights being held painfully by a big hand. That big jerk, he actually used so much strength. She glared fiercely at the big pig's trotter that was hugging her, and she wanted to bite it. Ding dong! Just as Mu Hanshua gritted her teeth, a phone call rang. Seeing the phone not far from her, she endured the pain in her headlights and took the phone with difficulty, hating the big pig's foot to death. When she took the phone and saw it was a call from her subordinate, she answered it casually. What did you say? Lingyu Group Chairman Qin Lingyu has disappeared, and the president has been replaced by a young man named Su Ziyu. Lingyu Group has been renamed Junlin Group. Okay, I got it. After hanging up the phone, he glared at the big pig's foot that still hadn't let go of the car light, but ignored it and instead casually dialed Xiaoli's phone number. No surprise, he got the last message from Qin Lingyu. Just last night, Qin Lingyu left the villa with more than 100 subordinates. No one knows where they went, even after activating their Mu family's intelligence network. Qin Lingyu and his hundreds of subordinates have vanished into thin air. Moreover, all signs indicate that Qin Lingyu's disappearance is likely related to the biggest beneficiary here, that is, the new Lingyu Group. Oh no, to be precise, it is Su Ziyu, the president of the Junlin Group. Of course, his real name is no one else but Su Ziyu. The most important point is that this Su Ziyu is very mysterious, and he has never appeared in public even after becoming the president of the Junlin Group. Su Ziyu? Junlin Group? Mu Hanshua, who was pondering, suddenly felt the pain from the car lights increase sharply, and there was no doubt that the strength of the large hand holding it had increased. You big idiot, do you want to die? He glared fiercely at a certain large pig's trotter. This shameless bastard, what will he do if the car lights are broken? What's the matter? Let our city-stunning baby frown with small eyebrows in the morning and let her husband take a look. While talking, he once again embraced the peerless beauty in his arms, and Mu Hanshi gave Yi Xian a white look with a cute grunt, but did not resist. She leaned against the big pig's foot's embrace and enjoyed the warmth, and told everything about the Lingyu Group, or more accurately, the Junlin Group. Oh. Hearing the words of the beauty in his arms, Yi Xian was slightly startled. Su Ziyu? It seems that kid is pretty fast, taking control of the Lingyu Group overnight and becoming the president. If anyone didn't know, he certainly did. That Su Ziyu was none other than the brother and sister who had escaped after the Lu family of the imperial capital had been wiped out by the Su family some time ago. During breakfast, several maids saw that the young lady's face had turned red again, and they realized what was going on. Beautiful eyes drifted over the young master, and envy shone in their eyes. Master is so amazing, he watches butterflies with the young lady almost every day. Aren't you afraid that your body will be drained? To be honest, if possible, they would also like to contribute their strength to Master's great cause of draining his body. Auntie Chen saw the looks on the faces of the maids and smiled without saying a word. It seems that their master is really not an ordinary person. Yi Xian, are you sure you want to go to the antique street to buy antiques? After the phone call in the morning, Mu Hanxi informed Yi Xian of the 70th birthday of his grandfather, Shen Laoshi. After all, his grandfather still doesn't know the news that they have gotten married. Don't worry, when it's your grandfather's birthday, I definitely won't let you lose face. Seeing a trace of worry in Mu Hanxi's eyes, he waved his hand nonchalantly, joking, he is a man with the divine treasure appraisal, plus the system. Oh, Daddy, Mommy, are we going to the antique street today? Grandpa's 70th birthday, hee, we haven't seen Grandpa for a long time. The two little ones' faces were filled with joy when they heard the words Grandpa. Grandpa really loves them. Oh. Antique Street, young master also knows about antiques and treasure appraisal. Auntie Chen was surprised to hear the two of them talking, and she said, before she married Mu Hanxi's mother and moved to the Mu family, she was always by the side of old Chen and Mu's mother, and she was influenced by them. She knows a little about appraising treasures. After all, old Chen is a well-known appraiser in China, and his disciples are all over the world. I know a little about it, he said with a smile, but in the years of the maids, it was applause. Previously, he said he knew a little about cooking and magic, but they didn't believe him. His mouth was a liar's mouth, and he was a big bad guy who just said things to trick them. Chapter 87, Meng Meng knows that Daddy super dotes on us. Antique Street in Shanghai. As the largest antique trading market in Shanghai, it is a chaotic place with all kinds of people and things, and it is also the most active place for all kinds of tomb-robbed cultural relics. Wow! So many toys. As soon as they had parked the car, the two little ones were attracted by the toys in the lobby of an amusement park near the antique street. They marched along, their big, sparkling eyes fixed on the many toys in the claw crane machines. There were 7 or 8 claw crane machines in a row, full of cute dolls, and at the moment, there were a few little cute kids and their parents playing with them. Daddy, can you help us pick a toy? Meng Meng really wants it too. The cute and coquettish appearance of the two little ones attracted the attention of many tourists around them, and when they saw the super cute Tong Tong and Meng Meng, their eyes lit up. These two little ones are truly an idol of the fans. Wow, what cute little lolas. So pretty, they're like little fairies. I can't take it anymore, I want to take one home. The fairground's fair-skinned and pretty cute girls couldn't walk straight when they saw the two little ones, Tong Tong and Meng Meng. They stared at the two little ones with their eyes fixed, their undisguised possessiveness obvious. But it's not surprising, really, the two little ones are just so cute, so sweet, so adorable, especially after Yi Xian's Peach Blossom Fairy Brew transformation, which has pushed the cuteness and sweetness of the two little ones to a new level. As for the parents of the children around them and the single dogs, they looked at Yi Xian with envy and jealousy in their eyes, and their hearts wailed with resentment. Did that guy save the earth in his past life, so that he has two such beautiful young lovers in this life? And that's not all, didn't you see that there is also a peerless beauty standing next to him? As expected, I'm afraid that beautiful woman is that guy's woman. My goodness, the gap between people can be so big. They didn't believe it before, but now they completely believe it. Yes, they really are two little devils. While speaking, Yi Xian used his large hands to fondle the heads of the two little ones, while Tong Tong and Meng Meng squinted with enjoyment and happiness. They really like it when their father does this, it's super sweet. Unwittingly, a wave of overwhelming dog food filled the field, and everyone who ate the sweet dog food gave an envious knowing smile. Mu Hanxi. These 3 men are sprinkling dog food again, really, drunk. Have they never considered their own feelings or the feelings of others? At this moment, Mu Hanxi honestly said that she was sour. Although the big piggy in front of her belongs to her, it also belongs to the two little guys. The feeling of eating dog food from your own man and two little rivals is really super helpless, bitterly gratifying and envious. The feeling is very complex, and such emotions can only be understood but not expressed in words. Ho, really, poop. Meng Meng knows that Daddy super duper loves us, and Daddy Meng Meng super loves you. The two little ones' eyes were full of admiration and adoration, their big shining eyes fixed on the omnipotent Daddy, and then, in the gaze of everyone, especially the single dogs, they gave Daddy an intimate kiss on the cheek. Wow, I can't take it anymore, Mommy, this dog food is so sweet, I can't bear to look at it. Mamma mia, what have I done wrong, to be shown this early in the morning? I admit, I'm jealous. This little girl is so cute, no comparison, no harm, looking at the creditor next to me, I really want to slap her and remake her. Invisible dog food is the most lethal, but I admit, this dog food tastes super good. Oh, let's go with the two little girls and the young lady. The young lady will definitely spoil you. This is too sweet. That super handsome guy is exactly the Prince Charming in this little girl's heart. I feel like falling in love. The sound of chattering came from the field, especially from the cute girls with explosive combat power. The impulse in their beautiful big eyes was just a matter of time before they rushed up and forcibly took the two little Lolas away. Before the crane game even started, Yi Xian and the two little guys were like a wave of crazy dog food, spilling it all over every inch of the amusement park, directly captivating all the many tourists. The owner of the amusement park, a young man in his 30s, looked at the three people in the middle of the field, just like the tourists, and was undoubtedly also full of dog food. He had a silly smile on the corner of his mouth, and that smile was so heartless. Unintentionally, the owner of the amusement park looked over at the boss's wife, who was exchanging game coins for tourists, and who was also his wife. Originally, they planned to save enough money and then have children, but now his thoughts had completely reversed. Compared to playing with his daughter, making money is too insignificant. He was so stupid to marry her. Immediately, his eyes filled with passion as he looked at his wife again. The boss's wife, who had just exchanged the game coins, also felt the passion in her husband's eyes. Her pretty face couldn't help but turn slightly red. This guy wouldn't lose control and do something here, would he? Her beautiful, confused eyes couldn't help but look at the center of the dog food. Not only did her husband's heart stir, but as the boss's wife, she also felt it stir. She even had an impulse deep in her heart to immediately start a family with her husband. While the dog food was being spilled, Yi Xian took the redeemed game coins and went to the crane machine. Go, Daddy! Daddy is the best, Ali, give it to him. The two little ones kept encouraging Baba, their sweet voices ringing out in the quiet amusement park, because everyone's attention was now completely drawn to the three people who had spilled the dog food. The dog food raid was like an endless wave, one after another. Clatter. The game coins were put into the claw machine, and then there was a chance to grab a doll. Under Yi Xian's control, the triangular claw moved precisely, and Yi Xian's actions also attracted the attention and hearts of the two little ones and everyone else in the field. As the claw moved, after about 5 or 6 times, the position and angle were adjusted, and then the button was pressed. The triangular claw grabbed at various toys at a visible speed. Tong Tong and Meng Meng stared at the claw controlled by their father with big, wide eyes, and secretly hoped in their hearts that it would grab the toys. That big claw can grab it in one go. Mu Hanshi didn't have high hopes for this time. After all, claw machines are not that easy to catch, or the owner would go bankrupt. Mu Hanshua's thoughts had not yet settled when the triangular claw precisely grabbed a small Pikachu toy, then lifted it up and moved towards the toy exit, releasing the claw, and the small Pikachu toy was grabbed out of the claw machine. The seamless operation made the eyes of many tourists in the field light up. This guy can do it, he grabbed it out first, he's lucky enough. Mu Hanshua, air. Mu Hanshua, slightly stunned, looked at the scene. Obviously, he didn't expect it to work. That guy actually got it out. Chapter 88, this handsome guy really spoils his daughter, I want to be his daughter too. Wow! Daddy is so awesome. He, where's the small Pikachu? Giggle. The two little guys hurriedly took the little Pikachu out of the toy outlet, their little faces full of joy. Gee, I can't tell, this guy is so lucky. That's right, this claw machine is super hard to catch, I just tried 10 times and failed. I'm a little better than you, I tried 7 or 8 times and succeeded once. Cough cough. This is not important, look at what that guy is doing, he's not going to catch it again, is he? In this room, a tourist saw Yi Xian in front of the crane machine performing another wave of actions, and stuffed in the game coins. When everyone looked for the source of the sound, they saw the triangular claw moving rapidly under Yi Xian's control. After determining the position, he pressed the button, which was much faster than the first time. Then, under everyone's attention, the claw grabbed 2 toys at the same time, a small Pikachu and a yellow duck. And they were both stuck in the heads of the 2 toys, and they just started to rise, and then moved towards the toy exit position, until the 2 toys fell out of the exit position at the same time, and everyone's pupils shrank. What the hell? 1 claw, 2 kills. Mu Hanshua was stunned by what she saw here, that bastard. Could it be luck again? At this moment, Mu Hanshua hesitated. The first success was excusable due to luck, but this second time, he managed to catch 2 at the same time. This was not just a matter of luck. Wow, Baba Tong Tong loves you to death. Baba is our Superman. The 2 little ones saw a small Pikachu and a small yellow duck, each holding one in their arms, giggling sweetly. Hearing their adoration, Yi Xian's mouth curled up slightly, and his heart was even more full of energy. The invisible dog food once again filled everyone around with a mouthful of dog food. It was really the sweet voices of the two little ones that were so magical, and it made people's bones crisp. Wow! Big Brother is super awesome, OMG! Mom, dude can't be a crane game expert, this operation is completely smooth. Ahem, I feel like something big is going to happen today, the amusement park owner is going to be in trouble. Be confident, please get rid of that feeling. Yada, this handsome guy spoils his daughter too much, it makes me want to be his daughter too. It must be very happy, oh. The surrounding tourists were once again shocked. The chance of one claw grabbing two toys in the real world was too small, and it was unlikely to happen even once every 1,000 times. Pa! Shit, look, that guy isn't going to grab three with one claw, is he? Just as everyone was discussing this, Yi Xian started a new game, and directly grabbed three toys from the claw machine. This scene really shocked many tourists. Mu Hanxi. This guy really likes to show off, but how did he manage to do it? Boss. Boss's wife. The boss and the boss's wife, whose eyes were shining with excitement, looked at each other and saw the unease and disbelief in each other's eyes. How could this be? A claw machine claw grabbed three toys at once and successfully landed them in the exit. This master. The boss and the boss's wife then realized one thing: grabbing one toy with one claw can be considered lucky, grabbing two toys with one claw can be considered a stroke of luck, but grabbing three toys with one claw, they couldn't even convince themselves that it was luck. However, this was not the end. The next scene confirmed their guesses in an incredibly realistic way. What? 4 toys in one claw. The boss and the proprietress were contemplating the bad feeling they had when another scream came from the field. Everyone looked at Yi Xian in the field and their expressions changed. Their eyes were filled with shock to the extreme. My goodness, this guy. Is this for real, so fierce? Grabbing 4 toys in one claw, what does this mean? It's very telling. This guy is definitely a master of claw machines. Listening to the surprised chatter of the people around him, Yi Xian did not feel the slightest fluctuation in his emotions, because in his opinion, this was only normal. And this was before he used his abilities. If he used his magneto powers, not to mention one claw, he could easily get 5, 6, 8, or even 10. Of course, that would be too unbelievable. Even now, this operation has greatly shocked everyone. Wow! 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 The two little ones also had big, wide eyes, full of light, like bright stars twinkling in the night sky. Toys, so many toys, Daddy is so awesome, giggling and giggling. The two little ones were full of admiration and adoration for the omnipotent Daddy, their favorite Daddy, so awesome, super, super, super awesome. Sweet. A sweet, sweet honey welled up in their hearts, surrounding them and wrapping them up tightly. Daddy did all this for them. They felt really, really happy to be so spoiled by Daddy. Wow, he. Mu Hanxi gasped at the sight, her astonished eyes fixed on the big jerk, that big pig's foot, and she wondered how he had managed it. Although she didn't play the crane machine much, she knew that it was not easy to grab a doll from it. Not to mention grabbing 4 toys with one claw, even 3 or even 2 was a once-in-a-blue-moon event. It was easy to imagine the impact this had on the crowd. This incredible scene attracted tourists around them to record it and upload it to the internet. It would be a pity if so amazing a scene was not known to more people. However, Yi Xian's operation did not stop, but continued frantically. 3, 5, 10. In a short while, all the toys in the crane machine were grabbed out by Yi Xian, and the level of 4 toys was maintained each time. Boss. Mu Hanxi. The many tourists around. Brutal. This wave is too ruthless. At the moment, the boss's eyelids are twitching uncontrollably. Are you kidding? Damn, now I've lost everything, not even underwear left. My goodness, please have mercy. However, Yi Xian's operation continued. In order to make his 2 super cute daughters happy, he was determined to go through with the crazy act of spoiling his daughters. After finishing with one machine, he started on the next, and then the 3rd machine, the 4th machine, the 5th machine. After about 10 minutes, to the stunned and shocked looks of everyone, Yu Xuanqiao's operation came to an end. He had captured all 7 array claw machines, and the 2 little ones had already been buried by at least hundreds of dolls that were piled all over the floor. With a thud, the amusement park owner saw this scene and immediately knelt on the ground, his face turning pale. "Oh my god, do you have to be so cruel? At least leave us a way out. Oh my god, oh my god. P.S. A million thanks for your love, can you give a reward? Here's some dog food." The author has something to say. Are there any big guys who have been sweetened? Gather here. Anyway, the little author is sour, hee rai x3. Chapter 89, Tonight, when I serve you in bed, I will tell you everything. The owner of the amusement park wanted to cry but couldn't, and the proprietress was full of shock. Her heart was bleeding. Although she was also eating the sweet dog food and envied the 2 little guys, these crane machines were their hard-earned money. A baby-making plan? Screw the baby-making plan. Oh no, I've lost a lot today, what should I do? I feel so bad. Just kidding, if things go on like this, I won't be able to support myself, let alone make a baby. Looking at the toys and the claw machines all over the floor, Mu Hanshui gave a hard look at a certain big pig's foot. This bastard really spoils the 2 little ones, to be honest, she can't bear to watch anymore. Tong Tong and Meng Meng just like the toys in the claw machine, but this jerk went too far, grabbing all the toys in the claw machine. Is this really necessary? It's as if he's trying to show everyone how much he loves his daughter. Gulub. Gulub gulub. The sound of gulping saliva came from the throats of the tourists in the field, and everyone here was dumbfounded as they watched the scene. What is this? Oh my god, I can't be dreaming. Cough cough, did this guy just grab all the toys from the 7 or 8 claw machines? This is ruthless, I'm afraid the boss and the boss's wife have long since lost faith in life. Please, boss and boss's wife, psychological shadow area. Listening to the excited chatter and envy of the surrounding tourists, Tong Tong and Meng Meng's faces were filled with happy smiles. Baba really has spoiled them rotten. Choose 2 you like. We should go now. He petted the 2 little ones' delicate noses, paying no attention to the toys all over the floor. He looked so calm and collected that it was as if the toys had nothing to do with him. MMM. The 2 little ones nodded their heads like little chickens pecking at rice, and then started picking out toys with abandon. This scene made the owner and proprietress of the amusement park flinch. In the end, the 2 little ones each picked a little yellow duck and a little Pikachu, and left the amusement park with their father. Thank you, thank you. The owner, who had come back to his senses, was inexplicably moved. That guy was a good person. When the surrounding tourists saw this scene, the scenes that had just happened flashed through their minds. They had grabbed 4 toys with 1 claw, and this scene was enough for them to brag about for half a month. After leaving the amusement park, Mu Hanshua still couldn't believe what she had just experienced. She looked at Yi Xian with a complex expression, wanting to say something but ultimately unable to hold back. How did you do that? I want to know. Seeing the curious gaze of the peerless beauty, he looked her up and down, admiring her devilish figure. I'll tell you everything tonight when I serve you in bed. Mu Hanshua. You, asshole. Hearing the shameless guy's words, Mu Hanshi wanted to bite him to death. Love to say or not, who likes to hear it, huh? She gritted her teeth and glared at Yi Xian, then stopped talking, because she was afraid that she couldn't control herself and would rush up to have a 300-round scuffle with the guy. As they listened to their father's flirtatious words, Tong Tong and Meng Meng's little faces were filled with joy. Their father was bullying their mother again. Just as the family was heading to the antique street, a video of Yi Xian's masterful operation of the crane machine went viral online. Before long, it was spread to Shanghai University. Holy shit, this is the boss. In the breakfast cafeteria of the University of the Demon City, Lu Feihu stared at the video playing on the screen of his phone with wide eyes. Boss, is it really the boss, playing with a crane machine? This is amazing. For toys in 1 claw, the boss is truly the boss, playing with a crane machine and still being so awesome. The 3 of them looked at the screen with a disgusted expression. From the moment Yi Xian started grabbing the claw machines until all of them fell, Lin Xiuya and the other 2 were stunned. They had never heard that the boss was so good at playing claw machines, and, this kind of behavior shows that the crazy girl-crazed monster is too deeply addicted. Directly grabbing all the claw machines in the amusement park, the boss's actions were too ruthless. If I were the boss, I would have cried myself to sleep in the toilet a long time ago, Lu Feihu said after a moment's thought. Not only the 3 of them, but also the other students at Shanghai University were taken aback by the viral mobile video. For a while, Shanghai University caused a furor once again because of their male god Yixian. Yuanqing Peony Pattern Meiping, Modern High Imitation. The bottle is 44 centimeters high and 5.4 centimeters in diameter. It is formed using the traditional potter's wheel method, and the segments are assembled in stages during the process, leaving obvious seams. The shape of the vessel is simple and elegant, giving it a dignified, majestic and upright beauty. Appraised value 2,000 RMB. Storkfish stone axe pattern painted pottery jar, high imitation from the Qing dynasty. Red clay with a sandy texture, 47 centimeters high, 32.7 centimeters in diameter, 19.5 centimeters at the base. One side of the outer wall of the belly of the vessel is the famous storkfish stone axe pattern. The pattern is 37 centimeters high and 44 centimeters wide, appraised value 1,500 RMB. When you come to the antique street, what you see is a flood of antique information. It is no surprise that most of them are high-quality replicas, and there are very few genuine antiques. It can be said that it is extremely difficult to find a bargain on the antique street. After all, no one is a fool, and good things have long been hidden, so why would they be traded here? Wow, it's so lively here, Baba. It's even more lively than the temple fair in Baba's hometown. Listening to the noisy sounds of vendors hawking their goods, the two little guys chattered away, like two birds that had flown out of their cages. Yixian, let me remind you, my grandfather is a famous antique appraisal expert, so you must be sure to find something authentic here. To be honest, although Yixian is excellent in every way, he really doesn't think he can find an item that will satisfy his grandfather when it comes to antiques. Yixian, who was about to reply, couldn't help but let his eyes fall on a stall not far away, or to be precise, a wine bottle on the stall. Warring States glass bottle, authentic Warring States period. The patina is thick and mature, the wear is delicate and in place, the sense of age is full, the texture is warm and smooth, the color is mellow and beautiful, the shape is unique, the phoenix is carved by hand, the craftsmanship is superb. Appraisal value 5 million. Ha! Yixian, who had seen something good, was slightly startled. An intriguing mark formed on the corner of his mouth. This divine treasure appraisal ability was truly amazing, completely the nemesis of fake antiques. He lifted his foot and walked towards the stall. Hey, Daddy, wait for us. Mu Hanshua, you. Seeing Yixian ignore her, she couldn't help but glare hatefully at the big pig's foot. It was so annoying. Did that big jerk even hear her speak to him? If that jerk lost face at Grandpa's birthday, it wouldn't just be his own, even his parents would lose face. Boss, how much is this wine jar? Oh. Seeing Shini arrive, the vendor, Lao Wang, beamed with joy. He looked up and down Yixian and his party, and when he saw their extraordinary aura, he felt a thrill in his heart. Shini had arrived. This handsome man has good taste. This is a Warring States wine jar. At first glance, the handsome man is an expert, otherwise he wouldn't have immediately noticed this object. Lao Wang, who was not at all embarrassed by his lies, was used to saying such things off the cuff. However, when the surrounding stall owners heard this, they all rolled their eyes. Bullshit Warring States wine jar, they knew that thing. Lao Wang had spent $100 to collect it from a pretty little girl yesterday. Obviously, Lao Wang wanted to rip them off. After a pause, Lao Wang, whose voice had dropped, then performed with a master actor's level of acting, with a look of pain and suffering, as if he had suffered a great loss, and gritted his teeth. How about this? I see that you are a straightforward person. How about 100,000, as long as you take this Warring States wine jar for 100,000? The stall owners around him almost jumped up in surprise. 100,000? Holy shit, this old man really dares to ask for it. The price has increased 100 times in a minute. However, including the old man himself, they all have no idea what this wine jar in front of them is. What happened next directly cost the stall owner who asked for an exorbitant price half his life. Of course, that is all in the future. Chapter 90, Warring States glass bottle, premium price of 6 million. And 100,000. Hearing this price, the surrounding vendors all secretly cursed Lao Wang for being shameless. Of course, while secretly cursing, they couldn't help but feel envy and jealousy in their eyes. If the transaction is successful, they must ruthlessly rip him off that night. 10,000. He spoke calmly as he looked at the Warring States glass bottle. He would not let the old man of the stall ask for an unreasonable price. However, 10,000 was enough to impress him. After all, it had far exceeded the expectations of that boss. Ha! Upon hearing Yixian's words, the old man of the stall was shocked. 10,000. This has already increased his value 100 times over. This is a big customer. Cough cough. Handsome guy, you're being too ruthless with your price cuts, cutting it by 10 times. How about this, 80,000, take it for 80,000, and let's be friends. The stall owner said with a look of having suffered a great loss. His superb acting skills would have made people believe him if they didn't know any better. When the stall owners around them, who knew the ins and outs of the business, saw this scene, they thought the stall owner was despicable. Damn it, how come they didn't realize that Lao Wang was so shameless before? It's almost like they've refreshed their knowledge of shamelessness. Although they also really want to be as shameless as Lao Wang, in their opinion, there's nothing to be embarrassed about being shameless. Money is king. Not to mention shameless, if the money is enough, they will sell their conscience. 10,000. The stall owner's offer of 10,000 yuan was met with indifference by Yi Xian, who calmly repeated his offer. The stall owner. Handsome, we work hard in the sun and rain, and what we earn is hard-won money. You should at least raise the price a bit. How about 70,000 yuan? How about just 70,000 yuan? The excitement in the stall owner's heart eased a little. If he could earn more, who would want to earn less? My final offer is 10,000 yuan. Old Wang of the stall, 60,000. 10,000. After about 2 or 3 minutes, Old Wang of the stall's excitement dropped to the lowest point, and he sighed with regret. Forget it. That means the handsome guy is quick to make a decision. Good. 10,000 it is. After handing over the money and receiving the item, Yi Xian put away the Warring States glass bottle, while Old Wang of the stall was happily counting the 10,000 yuan in his hands. Even if a higher price was not negotiated, the scene here was enough to make the owners of the surrounding stalls jealous. Handsome guy, take care, come again next time. The old stall owner waved goodbye to Yi Xian and his family with a smile, his face full of flattery. Mu Hanshua looked at the old stall owner's expression, and the value of the Warring States glass bottle was already very obvious. This is what the bastard meant by knowing a little about the subject. Yi Xian's family had not gone far before the surrounding stall owners gathered around. Damn, Lao Wang is awesome. Damn, $100 for something that's worth 10,000, I don't care, you're buying tonight. Not bad, a good business deal early in the morning. Listening to the envy and jealousy around him, Lao Wang was also beaming with joy, very pleased. Ha, I'll treat everyone tonight. Overjoyed, the stall owner, who was rarely generous, readily agreed. However, at the same time, Yi Xian, who had not gone far, was stopped by a knowledgeable middle-aged man who, from his clothes, was obviously not short of money. Brother, please stay. The middle-aged man called out to Yi Xian, while his eyes were fixed on the Warring States glass bottle and he could not take them off. Can I take a look at your antique? Tong Tong and Meng Meng saw someone calling out to Baba, and they also looked curiously at the older man. Mu Hanshi obviously sensed the intentions of the middle-aged man, and had a bad feeling in her heart. Could it be that wine jar was not simple? Of course you can. Yi Xian, who had picked up the leak, handed the Warring States glass wine jar to the middle-aged man generously, and the middle-aged man carefully caught it. He looked at it for a while, and a ray of brilliance bloomed in his eyes. Brother, can I buy this wine bottle? I'll pay 100,000. After a moment's contemplation, the middle-aged man made a direct offer, keeping the brilliance in his eyes well contained. Wow! 100,000. The two little ones heard what the older man said and blinked their big, white eyes. That's a lot, although they didn't know how much 100,000 was. Mu Hanshua. 100,000? Hearing the middle-aged man's bid, a heart can't help but remain calm. The fact that he can call out such a price obviously proves that the wine bottle bought by that big pig's foot is not simple. Warring States glass bottle, you want to take it away for 100,000, I'll pay 200,000. Before Yi Xian could reply, someone who was also an expert in the field came over and someone couldn't help but bid 200,000. Humph, I'll pay 300,000. 500,000. The middle-aged man's face sank slightly when he heard the bids from the surrounding people, 1 million. Ha! Mu Hanshi saw the look on the middle-aged man's face, and her heart paused. Although 1 million was the same to her as 1 yuan, it was already a considerable sum for ordinary people. Ha, 1,100,000. Then a series of bidding began again, and the scene became a mini auction. On the other side, the people at the booth, such as Lao Wang, saw the commotion not far away. Hey, what's going on over there? Isn't that the young man who bought Lao Wang's wine bottle? It seems that a group of people are bidding for that wine bottle? What? Could it be that the Warring States glass wine bottle is real? The surrounding stall owners faintly heard the noise from a distance. My God, the bidding has already exceeded 1 million, this. With a flash, everyone's attention fell on the old stall owner, who was now pale and with disbelieving eyes, jumped up from his seat. No. No way, that wine bottle, how could it be real? His feet faltered, and the unease in the old stall owner's heart grew stronger. The wine bottle was worth millions, 10 times the price he had sold it for. What had he missed? A shipwreck in the gutter. Yes, this is the phrase that came to mind at the moment. The scenes just now appeared in front of his eyes like a movie. Now that he thinks about it, something is wrong. The guy who bought his wine bottle is very wrong. He was precise in his aim and resolute in his price. It was as if he had set his sights on that wine bottle from the beginning, and there was not the slightest panic on his face. All the evidence confirms one thing, and that is that the guy is an antiques expert. What a loss! Shit, the bidding over there has gone up to 3 million. At this time, a stall owner who had been watching the bidding not far away had his eyes wide open, and a sound that was almost a scream spread, shocking everyone. 3 million. This. All the stall owners were left speechless, and as for the stall owner Wang, he stumbled and lost all color, his intestines filled with remorse. 5 million. A voice came from the crowd. It was that of a middle-aged man named Feng Jingting, the owner of an antique shop. He often came to the antique street to look for bargains. Today, he happened to come across a Zhangguo era glass wine bottle that was exactly the same as one he had previously auctioned. He directly announced the auction price of the bottle he had at home. As expected, this announcement caused an uproar in the crowd. 5.1 million. Among the competitors around him, an elderly man really liked this wine jar and bid with a premium. 6 million. Feng Jingting gave a slight smile and without the slightest hesitation, he directly pulled the price to the ceiling of 6 million. The elderly man who just bid struggled with his face, but in the end, he shook his head bitterly. Obviously the wine bottle was not worth this price. Pa! Hearing this price, the old man at the stall, Wang Lao, felt his blood rise and he directly spat out a mouthful of blood. His whole face instantly paled. What did he miss? 6 million. Chapter 91, the authentic work of the book saint was found in the antique street Lantingyi Su. 1, 10, 100, 1,000, 10,000, 100,000. What's 6 million? That's a lot. Tong Tong and Meng Meng counted on their fingers, super cute as they calculated how much money they could get for the wine glass that their father bought them. But obviously, the number 6 million was far beyond their reach. 6 million, this big pig's foot. Mu Hanchua pursed her red lips, and then the words Yi Xin had said came to mind. I know a little. The wine bottle that had cost 10,000 was sold for 6 million, a 600-fold increase. This bastard really did know how to appraise treasures, and he was very good at it. How many secrets does he have that he doesn't know about? While Mu Hanchue was pondering, Feng Jingting had already settled the payment with Yi Xian, and Feng Jingting was overjoyed to get the same Warring States glass wine jar as the one at home. If the two wine jars were auctioned at the same time, the value would be more than the sum of their parts. Just then, a beautiful figure hurriedly arrived at Lao Wang's stall. Boss! Boss, hurry up! Where's the Warring States period glass wine jar I sold to you yesterday? Give it back to me, I won't sell it anymore. The school beauty came to the middle of the field and went straight to the point. Her name was Feng Mengyao, the freshman school beauty of Xuanwu University, and she had many suitors. Yesterday, when helping the old man clean out the treasure room, she saw a wine bottle thrown on the ground. She thought it was a scrap and sold it for 100 yuan on the antique street. But who would have thought that when she looked at her father's auction invoice early this morning, she learned that the Warring States glass wine bottle was one that the old man spent 5 million to bid on. If the old man knew that I had sold his treasure, the consequences, he would definitely hang her up and beat her. Who? The pale-faced stall owner just came to his senses. Little girl, it's not that I don't want to give it to you. Stop. The stall owner had not yet come to his senses when he was interrupted by Feng Mengyao. Money? I understand the rules. This way, 1,000, no, 10,000. 10,000 yuan, you sell me that wine jar. The stall owner. Hearing this number, the old stall owner's heart ached. He was going to lose a fortune. What, you don't like it? 50,000. Hurry up. The blood in the old stall owner's veins suddenly responded again, and the stall owners around him hurriedly came forward to comfort him. "Old Wang, calm down, don't get excited." Seeing the old man's reaction, Feng Mengyao was unhappy. "Hey, what do you mean by that? Don't push your luck." Feng Mengyao didn't have the time to waste and bit her silver teeth. 100,000. 100,000 yuan, hurry up and give me that wine bottle, or don't blame me for being rude. After the sound fell, with threats and enticements, plus a domineering air, Feng Mengyao, the granddaughter of the president of the Imperial Capital Writers Association and the daughter of the owner of an antique business, had been brought up as a young lady of the family. She could do anything if she was provoked, and in addition, she also had another identity, that of a third-degree black belt in judo, and she could easily defeat 3 or 5 strong men. You. Pa. Feng Mengyao's repeated provocations were such a finishing blow that not everyone could withstand it. Obviously, at this moment, the old stall owner finally broke through the limit of his endurance, and a mouthful of blood spurted out again. "Old Wang. Are you okay, Old Wang?" The surrounding stall owners, concerned, came forward to help Old Wang, bitterly saying to Feng Mengyao, "My little auntie, just stop talking. Your wine bottle really isn't with Lao Wang, he just sold it to a young man for 10,000 yuan. If you chase after it now, you might still be able to catch up." After pausing, feeling that the intensity was not enough, he continued, "If you continue to provoke him like this, someone is bound to get killed. Yes, little miss, you'd better hurry up and chase after it." The surrounding stall owners also chimed in, knowing that Lao Wang was in a very bad state at the moment. It was fortunate that the stall owners didn't say anything, otherwise Feng Mengyao would have exploded. "What did you say? You sold it to a young man for 10,000 taels of gold." Feng Mengyao was stunned upon hearing this, and her beautiful eyes then fell on the old stall owner. "You blind fool, you deserve to be so angry that you vomit blood. You." Upon hearing this, the old stall owner's blood rushed to his head, and he was overcome with anger. In the end, he once again spat out a mouthful of blood, which splattered onto the ground in a very conspicuous manner. Without finishing his sentence, he directly fell unconscious with his head tilted. "Old Wang. Hey, Old Wang, wake up." The surrounding stall owners were now all unsettled, and hurriedly gathered around Old Wang. "Humph, it's better if he's dead," Feng Mengyao snorted coldly. "If I can't get the wine bottle back, I'll see to it that I smash your stall." The stall owners around her. For some reason, listening to Feng Mengyao's words, they felt that Lao Wang's $10,000 didn't smell good at all. However, Feng Mengyao chased after the direction the stall owners had pointed out, and after a while, she saw a figure. Her beautiful eyes suddenly narrowed, and she hurriedly hid in a corner, patting her chest in fear. "Oh my, why is the old man here? Is he here shopping in the antique street again? No, what he's holding in his hands, what, a Warring States period glass bottle. No, it can't be that coincidental. Could it be that the old man bought the Warring States period glass bottle from that young man? This is terrifying." Feng Mengyao is even more afraid to go out now. If the old man finds out that the Warring States period glass bottle he bought is the one in his house, she doesn't know what will happen. She will definitely be beaten to death. "Oh my, I can't wait. I have to call Grandpa and Mum to let them know what's going on, otherwise the old man's anger is definitely something I can't handle." The quirky Feng Mengyao immediately thought of 2 reinforcements. She was extremely skilled at this kind of operation, and it was obvious that this was not the first time she had done it. On the other side, the 2 little guys' admiration for their father had risen to a level that was indescribable in words. He, did you know from the beginning, Daddy?" That's for sure. Didn't you see Daddy buying that wine glass right away?" Although they didn't know how expensive the Warring States glass was, they could tell from the expressions of the many uncles and the bidding prices that Daddy had once again stolen the show. I told you that our Daddy is the coolest and the most awesome." The words of the 2 little guys made the people around them look at Yi Xian with envy and jealousy, but when they thought about just how much the Warring States glass bottle had sold for, 6 million, they couldn't help but feel a myriad of emotions. For the first time, they felt the gap between people, and it was so big. Mu Hanshua was stunned as she listened to the words of admiration and adoration from the 2 little guys. She, too, had a myriad of emotions, and the scene before her eyes had obviously greatly exceeded her expectations. The events that had happened previously were playing out in front of her eyes like a movie, all of which confirmed Yi Xian's level of appraisal of treasures. She just didn't expect that the big jerk had actually hidden it so deep that he didn't even tell her. This made Mu Hanshua feel like biting Yi Xian to death for a while. It was so annoying and despicable. "Congratulations, host, you have gained plus 266 daddy points from Tongtong." "Congratulations, host, you have gained plus 266 daddy points from Mengmeng. Congratulations, host, you have gained plus 266 daddy points from Tongtong. Congratulations, host, you have gained plus 266 daddy points from Mengmeng. Harvesting the fatherly values from the two little ones, it is obvious that the admiration of the two daughters for him has increased. This made Yi Xian's mouth corners involuntarily reveal a knowing and intoxicated arc. If many cute girls here saw it, it would definitely cause a huge uproar. The little episode of the Warring States glass bottle ended, and Yi Xian did not forget the real reason for coming to the antique street, which was undoubtedly to find a gift for Mu Hanxi's grandfather. As he scanned the many stalls, he unsurprisingly noticed that 99% of the items were fakes. Even if there were the occasional genuine items, they were not particularly precious. As he walked along, listening to the chatter of the two little ones, it was a different kind of enjoyment. Until Yi Xian arrived at a stall, to be precise, a piece of calligraphy on the stall caught Yi Xian's attention. This piece of calligraphy was none other than the famous Wang Shiji's Lantingyi Su. Lantingyi Su, Wang Shiji's authentic work. The entire work is graceful and elegant, with exquisite words, and the strokes are like dancing, as if created with the help of gods and men. It has been revered as the best by generations of calligraphers. Its appraisal value is priceless. Wow! Yi Xian's eyes lit up as he read the description that appeared on the calligraphy in the booth. Priceless treasure. This guy actually got the authentic Lantingyi Su by the calligraphy Saint Wang Shiji. Is the system trying to make him look good at Mu Hanxi's grandfather's birthday banquet? If he misses such an invaluable treasure, he might as well find a piece of tofu and crash into it. Yi Xian gave a mysterious smile. Mu Hanxi happened to see the big pig's evil smile, and she couldn't help but feel her heart tighten. What was that guy going to do? Could it be that he had discovered another antique? If it were before, she would certainly not have thought so, but just now the 6 million high price of the Warring States glass bottle was sold right in front of her eyes, so she could not help but think so. Yi Xian, did you find another antique? With a hint of uncertainty, she asked suspiciously. She was sure that as long as that guy showed that smile, someone was bound to suffer. Upon hearing the words of the peerless beauty's wife, Yi Xian was in a good mood. He pinched Mu Hanxi's face, which was so mesmerizing that it was lethal, and a voice of affection and magnetism came out. Those who know me well are also my wife. The author has something to say. Chapter 92. Poverty limits our imagination, and we cannot experience the happiness of the rich. Put. What are you doing? Mu Hanxi was startled by this big pig's sudden bold move, and her pretty face flushed. This is the antique street with many people and chatter, and this guy is crazy. And the one who knows me is also my wife. I really have goosebumps all over my body. This guy is so mushy. Oh, this boss wants to buy something. I have absolutely fair prices here, no cheating young or old. You can go and ask around about my reputation, there's no doubt about it. Business came knocking, and old Tong blathered on, bragging. The change in character and smooth transition into the flow of the conversation was completely natural and unstilted, and his quick tongue was even more impressive than the previous stall owners. When the surrounding vendors heard this, they all rolled their eyes subtly, obviously not believing a word of what Tong Laosan said. But that's not important. What's important is that he has successfully closed countless deals with his eloquence, and he is truly unstoppable. Haha, how much is this calligraphy? As before at the stall of Lao Wang, he went straight to the point, without any fancy twists and turns. Are you joking? His time is precious, and he would rather spend it spoiling his two super cute daughters. At the very least, he would like to enjoy the butterflies with his beautiful wife and discuss life. Isn't he happy? Life is short, and the true meaning of life is to enjoy it while you can. Oh. Seeing Yi Xian looking at the calligraphy of Lantingyi Su, slightly stunned, and then pretending to be in deep thought for a moment, but his eyes were flashing with brilliance, and then he revealed a sly smile like a fox. This boss is obviously an expert. Let me put it this way, I won't frame you. This is a famous calligraphy master from the Ming dynasty, Gao Feng's Lantingyi Su. Usually I sell it to others for at least 150,000 yuan. Today, I have a connection with the boss, so let's say 100,000 yuan. If you pay 100,000 yuan, you can have the Lantingyi preface. What do you say? Holy shit. He sold it for 150,000 yuan to someone else, and now he's offering it to me for 100,000 yuan because we're destined to meet. This Tong San is really full of it. People aren't stupid, they can see through this. Tong San is in too much of a hurry this time. He should take it slow, and Okay. For 100,000 yuan, I'll take the Lantingi preface. Before the stall owners around him could fully process what was going on, a voice like thunder came into their ears, and they were left dumbfounded. Holy cow! What the hell? That young man agreed. That can't be right. How could he have agreed so quickly? Not only were the surrounding stall owners dumbfounded, but even the third Tong Laosher was dumbfounded. Yi Xian's actions were truly too abnormal, too easy, and too smooth. No. Cough cough, shouldn't you bargain? And Tong Sanshur was already prepared to bargain. Mu Hanqi saw Yi Xian's actions and narrowed her beautiful eyes as she watched the reaction of the big pig's feet. This guy, could it be that this Lantingi Su is not a fake but? Cough cough, no way, the Lantingi Su of the book sage Wang Shiji has been missing for at least hundreds of years, and it would appear here? What, you don't want to? Seeing the stunned look on Tong San's face, Yi Xian gave a small smile. After all, happiness came too suddenly, and it was inevitable that he couldn't accept it for a while. Tong San was stunned for a moment, and when he heard Yi Xian's words, he hurriedly pinched himself secretly. Yes, of course I do. The two little guys saw Tong San's expression, and they giggled at the corners of their mouths. Seeing their reaction, they knew that their father must have surprised them again. Then, in the dazed state of Tong San, the transaction for Wang Shiji's Lantingi Su was completed, and soon 100,000 yuan was credited to the account, and the goods and money were settled. What? The owners of the surrounding stalls were stunned. Misty grass? That's it. It's over. 100,000 yuan, my god, this guy is a real spendthrift. It was not until Yi Xian carefully rolled up Wang Shiji's calligraphy Lantingi Su and left the stall that the surrounding stall owners all gathered around in a flurry, each looking at Tong Laosan with envy in their eyes. My goodness, Tong Laosan, you're a lucky dog. Damn, 100,000 yuan, that's a lot of money. Envy, jealousy, Tong Laosan, I admit I'm jealous. But that kid is really rich. Did you see how he paid? He didn't even bat an eyelid. Yes, it's true. Poverty really limits our imagination. We'll never know the happiness of the rich in our lifetime. Listening to the envy of his peers around him, Tong Laosan's face broke into a smile, and he was overjoyed. 100,000 yuan, which was enough to cover his income for several months, was so much money that it was impossible to describe in words. However, as the saying goes, it's hard to stay cool for more than 3 seconds. Then came the bad news. Hey, Tong Laosan, have you seen a young man with a woman and a pair of super cute twins? Phew. The person who came spoke in one breath and almost passed out. After taking a deep breath, he continued, I'm telling you, you must not sell anything to that young man. Tong Laosan, heir. Everyone around looked at Tong Laosan at the same time, the meaning being very clear. It was obvious that the young man just now was the young man he was referring to, except that it seemed that he had just bought Tong Laosan's preface to the Orchid Pavilion for 100,000 taels of gold. Why? Tong Sanson had an extremely bad feeling for some reason, because the hurried look of this fellow already explained a lot. Sure enough, when Tong Sanson asked, the man gulped and swallowed. You may not believe it if I tell you. Just now, that guy took down the veteran stall owner in our area. Do you know that the guy bought a Warring States glass bottle from the stall owner, but when he realized it was a genuine item, he bought it directly for 10,000, and it was immediately sold to a local tyrant for a sky-high price of 6 million? He made 5.99 million in just one transaction. He's practically inhuman. Boom. As soon as these words were spoken, they sounded like thunder in Tong Laosan's ears. What? That kid just bought the Warring States Liuli Zun for 10,000 and sold it for 6 million immediately afterwards, making a huge profit of 5.99 million. Could it be that the 100,000 Wang Shiji's Lantingi Su that I just sold to that kid is a genuine Wang Shiji work of art? Chapter 93, the trio of robbers were brutally tortured by a 2-year-old rampaging girl. The genuine work of Wang Shiji. At this thought, Tong Laosan's face turned pale. The scenes just played over and over in his mind, and the bad feeling in his heart grew even worse. Something's wrong. Yes, something is very wrong. The speed at which that kid bought the Lantingi Su was from beginning to end, less than 2 minutes. It was too fast, so fast that he didn't have time to react. With a thud, Tong Laosher sat down on the ground, his eyes becoming dull, his face full of regret and pain. He regretted it. Why didn't he think more about it? Gul Yubing. Gul Yubing, Gul Yubing. The stall owners around saw the appearance of Tong San San and secretly swallowed their saliva, obviously thinking of the same situation as Boss Tong. The colleague was dumbfounded. Cough cough. Tong San, did you sell something to that guy? After a moment of confusion, the colleague vaguely realized something and stared at Tong San with wide eyes. He had already notified him as quickly as possible, but he didn't expect to be a step too late. Hiss. Stop it. Tong San sold the fake Lantingi Su scroll that had been appraised as such to that kid. If the kid you're talking about is that good, it means that the Lantingi Su scroll Tong San sold is probably a genuine work. The Lantingi Su scroll is priceless. The stall owners around looked at Tong San with sympathy, no longer the envy they had felt earlier. My goodness, he had passed priceless treasures, and a chance to completely change his life had been missed. Tong San was afraid that he would regret this for the rest of his life. Puff. Hearing the words of the stall owners around him, the messenger's colleague spat out the mouthful of tea he had just drunk. His eyes widened in disbelief as he stared at Tong San. What? Lantingi Su? You mean the Lantingi Su by the sage of storytelling, Wang Shiji? This. Oh my god, this is a big deal. The words here made the messenger peer tremble with shock, and a storm arose in his heart. Are you kidding? It sold for 6 million for just 10,000 yuan. If that Lantingi Su is a genuine work, I'm afraid the entire antiques world will be blown away. Leaving the booth a long way away, Mu Hanshua looked at the scroll in Yixian's hands and finally couldn't help but ask the big pig next to her in a puzzled and doubtful voice, Yixian, is this really the authentic Lantingi Su? Authentic. Of course, your man is very impressive. Mu Hanshua. Who's your man? You've got some nerve. Mu Hanshue, who had wanted to pry a little, was made to glare at the shameless guy in return by Yixian's sudden provocation. He, Daddy and Mummy are scattering dog treats again. I love watching Daddy and Mummy scatter dog treats. The focus of the two little ones was obviously not on Lantingi Su, but on Baba and Mama. In their opinion, Baba and Mama were much more interesting than calligraphy, especially when Baba and Mama were feeding the dog. And Mama was being bullied by Baba. If Mu Hanshue knew what the two little ones were thinking, I wonder if she would hang them up and beat them. Just as Yi Xian and the others were about to leave the antique street, a faint sense of murderous intent surged from the shadows behind them. Yi Xian's mouth curved up into a smile, and he immediately led Mu Hanshue and the two girls into a rarely visited alley. Daddy, why are we here? Tong and Meng asked curiously, and Mu Hanshue's face sank slightly, obviously realizing something, because just as they entered the alley, they clearly saw 3 men with ill intentions following them. Of course, I'm asking our baby to watch the show. He fondly pinched the little noses of the two little ones, and then looked in a certain direction. They've been following us for so long, aren't they coming out yet? Is it really? Mu Hanshi had just been doubtful, and now hearing Yi Xian's words clearly confirmed her suspicions. Good boy, you know we're following you and still dare to come here. It seems you have a lot of confidence in yourself. Laughter came from the alley, and then 3 figures walked out from the end of the alley, blocking Yi Xian and the others' way. A flash of light appeared in their hands, and a knife appeared in each of their hands. Kid, if you know what's good for you, hand over the painting scroll and the 6 million, or else I'll make sure you bleed to death right here. The leader of the robbers snorted, his mouth curling up in a grimace, but the impulsive third robber next to him didn't care. Big brother, what's the point of talking to them? Let's kill the man and the woman. While speaking, the robber holding a knife pressed over towards Yi Xian and the other 3, paying no mind to the 3 little thieves Yi Xian, even though they were holding sharp weapons. Instead, he stroked the heads of the 2 little ones. Tong Meng, I'll leave the bad guy to you. Let's see how well you've learned in this time. Mu Hanshua, air. Yeah, Daddy wants us to beat up the bad guy. That sounds like fun. Hearing their father's words, the 2 little ones took a step forward with their tiny feet. Daddy, Mummy, we'll protect you. Puff. Are you kidding? Big brother, it seems that kid is just a pretty face with no substance. The robber, Lao San, immediately laughed angrily when he saw the 2 little ones stand up. However, they did not see the anger on the little faces of the 2 little ones. You big bully, don't you dare say poop. They of course knew what a white face meant, and poop was not it. That bully was so annoying. Snort. Then the 2 little ones did as Poop had taught them and raised their pink fists and punched the big bully, saying that anyone who spoke ill of Poop was a bad person. What cute little Lolas, I'm sure they won't taste bad. Before the robber Lao San could finish his thought and slap the 2 little Lolas away, he suddenly felt an indescribable tingling in the soles of his feet, followed by a cone-like impact on his abdomen. With a loud bang, he fell backwards, his head smashing onto the ground with a dull thud, and he was immediately knocked unconscious. Yi Xian, who had spread his god-level magneto all over every corner of the alley, smiled knowingly at this scene. Obviously, this scene was completely within his expectations. Although the two little ones had only learned the basics, they were more than capable of dealing with ordinary petty thieves, even though they were only little girls a little over 2 years old. But don't forget the miraculous effects of Yi Xian's Peach Blossom Fairy. It's not an exaggeration to say that these two little ones were born with superhuman strength. What? Impossible. The leader and second in command of the robbers looked at the scene dumbfounded, their eyes wide with surprise. The third in command had actually been defeated by two little girls who were just over 2 years old. Ah! A miserable howl came from the third in command's mouth. The pain from the broken ankle in his gut was something he had never experienced before. Wow, we're really that powerful. Seeing the robber Lao San wailing, Tong Tong and Meng Meng looked at their small hands. They had clearly not used their full strength. Mu Hanxue, this is. But then, the two little ones' eyes sparkled. The villain was no match for them at all. Villain, I'll teach you a lesson. For saying bad things about your father, Meng Meng will hit you with shit. In an instant, the two little ones transformed into two rampaging little girls, cracking their little feet and fists towards the robber Lao San. The two little ones, who had already been completely changed by the Peach Blossom Fairy Brew, could not be stopped by ordinary people. The sound of bone cracking could be faintly heard, accompanied by nothing else but the robber Lao San's wailing and screaming. Holy shit! Lao San! He's tough, Lao Air, let's do it together. The robber boss and his brothers saw Lao San being punched and kicked by the two rampaging little girls, and they were in so much pain that they were stunned. They obviously realized that although these two little kids were small, they had extraordinary strength. Attack! The two fierce robbers brandished their knives and charged at the two little ones, but they had clearly underestimated the skills and teamwork of Tong Tong and Meng Meng. With a crackling sound, they quickly overpowered the leader and second robber and followed in the footsteps of the third robber. Then the sound of punches and kicks, along with the crunch of bones, could be heard in the alley. Let's teach you to speak ill of your father. You bad guys, Meng Meng will beat the shit out of you. People who say bad things about daddy are all bad people. The sound of bones cracking was unceasing. Mu Hanxue looked at the scene in shock, her eyes full of disbelief, listening to the screams coming from the scene. There were also two little guys who had turned into rampaging little Lolas. Cough cough. This is your super cute and adorable daughter. Chapter 94, cheated a con man out of 200 yuan. Her cute and adorable daughter had turned into a rampaging little girl. This kind of transformation made Mu Hanxue unable to react for a while, and she wondered how the guy had actually done it. The three robbers, who were also armed with daggers, were no match for her two little ones, who were only 2.5 years old. This was, to be honest, a bit too unbelievable. Mu Hanxue was a little speechless as she listened to the two little ones vent their anger and denounce the big piggy feet around them. The vocabulary of the little devil girl protecting her but came to mind, and she really didn't know if this was a good thing or a bad thing. After about 5 or 6 minutes, the anger of the two little ones dissipated a little. Okay, if you keep fighting, something will happen. After all, Yi Xian's original intention was just to test the two little ones, and the results were quite satisfactory. Humph, they said bad things about you, Papa, you're so bad. These big bad guys are so hateful. The two little ones complained sweetly like they were telling tales, and Mu Hanxue was transfixed by the scene, as if she were dreaming. She could not connect the scene with the image of the two little ones. If the outside world knew, it would definitely cause a huge uproar, especially the fierce appearance of the two little ones, but it is impossible to stop liking them. Everyone else is a crazy protective father, but the two little ones have become crazy protective of their children. There is no denying that this is the happiest thing for countless fathers. Being protected like this by your little lover is a very wonderful feeling, and only those who have experienced it can fully understand it. In the depths of the alley, there were screams of agony, and no one believed that this scene was done by two cute toddlers over 2 years old. After a while, Yi Xian led the two cute toddlers and his beautiful wife, who was in a daze, out of the alley. A gust of wind blew, and the three robbers were filled with sadness and resentment. They had never thought that they, who had a murder on their conscience, would be brutally beaten by two little kids. SSSHH. Damn it, just wait, I won't let you die, I'll write my name backwards. The leader of the robbers was full of hatred, he would definitely repay the humiliation today 100, no, 1,000 times over, bastard. The second and third robbers also had a fierce look in their eyes, obviously they had the same thoughts as the leader. With a flash, The three robbers' faces were hideous with hatred when a figure arrived silently in the middle of the field, looking at the three robbers, whose bones were broken all over their bodies. The ghost took a cold breath, shocked, and looked in the direction where the young master, the young lady and the two little guys had left. My goodness, the young master is so awesome. What kind of little monsters have he trained the two little guys to become? Who? The three robbers struggled to their feet, supporting each other. The leader of the robbers was full of vigilance. Who are you? It's not surprising that they are like this. They have already been seriously injured by the two fierce-looking little guys, and they have absolutely no fighting power at all. Their lives are not guaranteed. Who am I? Ghostly Shadow looked at the seriously injured man. In his eyes, not to mention the present, even in his prime, he was not even considered an ant. He snorted coldly, "You insulted my young master and young lady, and attacked my two young masters. Who do you think I am?" What? No. For many years, Ghostly Shadow had sensed an extremely strong sense of danger from the young master. Just as Ghostly Shadow was trembling with fear, a voice rang out, making them despair, "I've come to kill you. Since you have chosen to make your move, be prepared to die." As the voice fell, a flash of blade light was heard, and 3 streams of bright red blood sprayed out. Then the trio of robbers ended their short lives, lying on the ground in 3 bodies. He understood what the young master meant. Then the figure of the Ghostly Shadow disappeared in a flash, as if nothing had ever happened. It was just that the 3 bodies in the alley were a constant reminder that something thrilling had just happened here. There was silence between heaven and earth. On the way back to the villa, the 2 little ones were also very excited. Hee, Daddy, it turns out that what you taught us is so awesome. The 3 bad guys were no match for us. Obviously, the 2 little ones were very happy because they could also teach the bad guys a lesson like Daddy. Our 2 cute little princesses have learned well, but... Pausing for a moment, he spoke with great earnestness, "You must remember that although you are awesome, you must not use this as a reason to bully people, and you should also try to avoid fighting as much as possible. I'm only teaching you this so that you don't get bullied, and never to bully others." After listening to Yi Xian's earnest teachings, Mu Hanxue let out a small sigh of relief. She was really afraid that the 2 little ones would become rampaging little girls in the future. "Oh. We know, Baba." Hearing their father's words, Tonton and Mengmeng nodded their heads like little chicks pecking at rice. Although it was fun to teach the bad guys a lesson, they knew that their father was always right. Ding dong ding. Just then, a phone call rang from the car. After hesitating for a moment upon seeing an unfamiliar number, he answered the call. "Hey buddy, it's Lao Wang. I'm in urgent need of money, so wire me some money." As soon as the call was connected, a familiar voice came from the other end, but Yi Xian was confused by the voice. Lao Wang? Apart from Wang Lin, he doesn't have any friends with the surname Wang, and that kid Wang Lin wouldn't dare call himself Lao Wang in front of him. He always calls himself Lao San. Judging from his deliberately familiar words, this person is probably a scam call. Mu Hanxi, who was standing nearby, was suspicious. Yi Xian, who was in character as a comedian, replied in a familiar manner, "Foggy grass, you're a real scoundrel, Lao Wang. You haven't even paid back the money you borrowed from me. Hurry up and recharge my phone with 200 yuan, or forget it. Do. After saying that, he hung up the phone directly, but the 2 little ones were listening with a stunned expression. "Daddy, is Uncle Wang going to lend you money?" The 2 little ones stared at their father curiously, obviously thinking that the person who called him was their father's university roommate, Uncle Wang. "Ha, this isn't your Uncle Wang, it's a scam call." With a smile, he rubbed the little ones' heads and explained with a laugh that he wasn't hiding anything. "Oh? I said that Daddy's attitude when speaking was different from Uncle Wang's, and it turned out to be a scam call. Daddy, I heard that people who make scam calls are bad." The 2 little ones chattered away, and Mu Hanxi, who was standing nearby, also understood a little. No wonder that bastard was speaking so abnormally just now. However, before Mu Hanxue could delve deeper into this thought, she heard a ding-dong sound of a message coming from Yi Xian's phone. With a low brow and a glance, Mu Hanxue saw a message, "Dear owner of the last digit 5367, your phone was recharged 200 renminbi at 10 hours 43 minutes and 52 seconds. Please check it. China Mobile." Mu Hanxue. Seeing the message in the big pig's foot phone, he suddenly realized something. "Yi Xian, that liar charged you 200 yuan in phone fees." Chapter 95, Isn't it just how you like me to be bad? The scammer charged 200 yuan for the call? Hearing his beautiful wife's words, Yi Xian was slightly startled. He obviously didn't expect this kind of operation from a scam call. Daddy, that scammer is so stupid. Yeah, and he even charged Daddy for the call. Hearing her mother's words, Tong Tong and Meng Meng looked at their phones and complained about the scammer on the other end of the call. Are the scammers all this stupid these days? Mu Hanxue also muttered suspiciously, deeply worried about the industry. Ding dong dong. Just then, the phone rang again. Looking at the number, it was obviously the scammer calling again. The scammer called you again, Daddy. Tong Tong's giggly voice came out, her little face full of malice. The scammer was really so stupid, not as clever as her and her sister. Papa, pick up the phone and see what the liar has to say. Meng Meng was also urging him to do so, clearly not afraid of the consequences. Hey, buddy, I've already charged the phone bill, look at the money. The phone connected, and the voice of the fraudster came again. Sorry, your IQ balance is insufficient, please recharge in time. The fraudster on the other end. Buddy, you. Do. The fraudster had not yet reacted when Yi Xian hung up the phone. Mu Hanxue glared at Yi Xian and burst out laughing. Insufficient IQ, please recharge in time. This jerk really needs to be more tactful. The two little ones were a little confused, and obviously couldn't figure out the meaning of the sentence for a while. Tong Tong tilted her head and curiously asked her mother, Mom, what does insufficient IQ balance and recharge in time mean? Yes, how do you recharge your IQ? Hearing the two little ones, Mu Hanxi almost laughed again, glared at Yi Xian, your father is joking with that liar. Oh, I see. The two little ones, who seemed to understand but didn't, nodded their heads, looking like they understood. While the three of them were talking, the fraudster on the other end of the line called back, Hey, man, what do you mean? What do you mean, recharge your IQ? You've got money, so lend me some for an emergency. Yi Xian. Listening to the persistence of the fraudster on the phone, Yi Xian was also drunk. In the coming year, the little ones were staring at their father with relish, wanting to hear what else he would say. The fraudster was so much fun. Under the watchful eyes of his two young children and his beautiful wife, Yi Xian replied with deep meaning, in fact, on our life journey, we will inevitably encounter setbacks of one kind or another, and we will inevitably encounter all kinds of people. Some of them will help you grow, while others will let you know that the world is dangerous. And there are always some people who appear on your life journey to tell you that you are so gullible. Goodbye, oh no, it's never again. After saying that, Dudu hung up the phone. Mu Hanxue heard what the big pigfoot had said and burst out laughing again. You're really bad. Mu Hanxue could already imagine the expression of disbelief on the fraudster's face. She was afraid that she had been played by this big jerk in front of her. After thinking for a while, Tong Tong and Meng Meng also revealed happy smiles, and once again looked at Baba with full admiration. Baba was awesome, instantly defeating the fraudsters on the phone, and was completely like the idol Ayatuman. Haha, what's the big deal? You like it when I'm naughty, Yi Xian said with a carefree smile, his direct gaze making Mu Hanxue's face flush. This jerk is going to die. Pfft, no one likes you. He gave a disgusted look at a certain narcissist. But then again, that guy's badass appearance is quite charming. Mu Hanxue, what are you thinking? That jerk's badass appearance is nothing to be happy about. Don't you know that he only bullies you? Grow a heart, that big pig's mouth is a lying ghost. On the other side, Feng Jingting returned to the villa humming a little song. The first thing he did was go straight to the collection room, press the code to open the door, and then his eyes were greeted by a dazzling array of personal antique collections. He went to the appraisal table, placed the Warring States glass bottle on it, and was about to use an instrument to measure it when his eyes couldn't help but fall on an imperceptible scratch on the Warring States glass bottle. Ha! This scratch is exactly the same as the one on the glass bottle I auctioned. No, that's not right. Finally, Feng Jingting noticed something was wrong. His eyes suddenly widened. This is the glass bottle from the Warring States period I auctioned. After taking a closer look, Feng Jingting could no longer remain calm. He suddenly thought about how his precious daughter had helped him organize his collection room the day before, and a bold speculation came to mind. Feng Mengyao. You good for nothing, what have you done? The first thing Feng Jingting did was to call the phone number of the daughter of the Xuanwu University campus beauty queen. Sorry. The user you have dialed is temporarily unavailable. Please try again later. Do. The The voice on the other end of the line rang a few times and then the call was automatically disconnected. At this moment, Feng Jingting was even more certain that his daughter was definitely behind this. Feng Jingting's lungs were about to burst with anger. He thought back to all the happy things that had happened today, and his face burned with pain. He realized that he had spent the whole day playing the role of a clown. Meanwhile, Feng Mangyao was complaining to her grandfather and mother, seeking their assistance. She knew she had caused a big problem, and if she went back by herself, she would definitely be beaten up by the old man. This was just a small incident. After returning from the antique street to the villa, the 2 days passed quickly, and finally the final stop of the Daidu concert of the pop diva Ning Shuang'er began as scheduled. This concert was the largest of the 10 concerts in terms of both scale and number of people. The concert venue was the Imperial Capital Opera House, which could accommodate more than 100,000 people. At this moment, many large central screens had already been set up in the venue, so that the audience at the back could also see. From 2:30 p.m., the audience gradually entered in an orderly manner through the 8 ticket gates. It wasn't until half an hour ago that all the audience members were seated, looking forward to the start of the diva's final concert. Lin Xiaoya and his 2 friends each brought their girlfriends to the venue, and they all had VIP tickets. It is worth mentioning that under Lufita's crazy pursuit, Feng Weiqi, the school flower of the broadcasting and hosting department, agreed to go out with him. Although her ideal Prince Charming is Senior Yi Xian, she understands that such an outstanding Senior Yi Xian is not someone she can match. "Hey, Weiqi, see, the woman in the front row with the 2 cute twins is my wife," Lu Feihu said to Feng Weiqi, and when Feng Weiqi looked around, she saw a woman whose temperament, figure and appearance far surpassed her own. She couldn't help but feel that this woman was indeed even more outstanding than she had thought. "Wow, hee, I can finally see Bobby sing at Shuang'er Mama's concert again, I'm so looking forward to it. Daddy will definitely be the focus of the crowd today, and Frosty Mama will probably be overshadowed." The 2 little ones chattered excitedly, watching Mu Hanqi control the 2 little ones who were not calm. If she didn't hold them back, they would probably both run to the backstage. "You two, behave yourselves." She glared at the 2 little ones. Whether it was because they had been practicing Tai Chi with Yi Xian, the 2 little ones were like 2 little calves, and their strength was completely incomparable to ordinary cute kids. It's all that big pig's fault. If he hadn't come to his girlfriend's concert, this wouldn't have happened. Mu Hanshua couldn't help but think of the beautiful scene that happened in the office of the Tianji building that day. She was talking to her best friend on the phone, and that big jerk actually dared to do that to her. Thinking about this, Mu Hanshua's face turned red and hot. The various images in her head were like a floodgate that had been released, and they all poured out, all kinds of positions that were unbearable to look at, making her extremely mad. Chapter 96, That Big Pig's Foot, is he going to show off again? Time passed, and the concert was drawing near. In one of the VIP seats, a girl with a pretty face was broadcasting live, reporting on the concert in real time. This girl was none other than Lin Xiyu, who had previously gone to Guishu village to broadcast live outdoors. In order to give her fans a good view, Lin Xiyu specially asked someone to buy a ticket for the VIP seats through 18888. Together with the high megapixel mobile phone and the stage lighting, she was able to capture the stage clearly. A few days earlier, Lin Xiyu had promised her fans to broadcast the live stream of the diva's final stop in the imperial capital. At the moment, fans who did not have the opportunity to come to the scene were all watching the live stream on their mobile phones, looking forward to the start of the concert. Is the Queen of Frost's concert finally coming to an end? Yes, the concert has been going on for more than 10 stops, and I didn't expect the final stop to be here so soon. That's right, I heard a little birdie say that for this concert, the Goddess Frost has invited quite a few big-name singers. I've heard that too, I'm looking forward to the Goddess Frost concert tonight. The barrage of comments in the live broadcast room soared. There were still 5 or 6 minutes before the concert began, but the number of fans in the live broadcast room had already exceeded 100,000, and the number of fans was growing at a visible rate as the concert drew near. What did I see? Is that the VIP seats in the front row? Aren't those Yi Xian's godly wife and 2 twin daughters? Soon, the fans in the broadcast room noticed Mu Hanxue and the 2 little ones. Lin Xiyu also looked over, and when she saw the 3 of them, her eyes lit up. Could it be that Goddess Ning Shuang had also invited Yi Xian's idol, the male god, to the concert? The concert began as scheduled, and the venue fell into silence. Lin Xiyu's fans in the broadcast room also shifted their attention from Mu Hanxue and the 2 little cuties to the stage. The lights focused on a certain moment. a stunningly beautiful woman dressed fashionably yet elegantly, and also the current diva of the music scene, Ning Schwanger, stepped onto the stage in high heels, her mouth curved in a seductive smile that made countless boys fall for her. Dear audience and fans, thank you for coming to Schwanger's last concert in the imperial capital. Oh. Looking at the queen of the stage with her peerless beauty, her skin like milk, her face kissed by an angel, her devilish figure and the charming aura that attracts them, the audience immediately went into a frenzy, and even Lin Shiyu's live broadcast room fans were very excited. The influence and popularity of the queen of the music scene were now being demonstrated to the fullest. The enthusiastic cheers of the fans in the audience sounded in Ning Schwanger's ears, and a shallow arc appeared at the corner of her mouth. The support of these fans was the greatest encouragement for her to continue her efforts. The Daidu concert is the final battle of this year's concert tour. Along the way, I would like to thank everyone for their support. For this reason, I have invited many stars of the music scene, and I hope that all of you fans will like it. Ning Schwanger's sweet and pleasant voice came from the stage, reverberating through the sound system in every corner of the opera house and in the ears of every audience member. The diva's warm-up atmosphere quickly reached a crescendo. Seeing that it was about time, Ning Schwanger's mouth curved into a mysterious smile. Then, the microphone was placed next to her mouth. Next, I want to give you a surprise. After pausing, she sold the suspense, attracting the attention of the audience, and then she spoke. I don't know if everyone still remembers the musical genius at the first stop of Frosty's concert in the Magic City. With just 2 songs, he became famous overnight, and it was also because of him that Frosty has so many new songs to write for everyone. At this point, Lin Shiyu's gaze could not help but fall on Mu Hanchua in the front row of the VIP seats, and the fans in the broadcast room were the same, obviously guessing something. The audience members all brightened up when they heard the words of the goddess Schwanger. The Magic City Station? A musical genius? 2 songs? A legend in one battle? Each of these words pointed to the same person, and that person was none other than the owner of several of the most popular songs in the music scene right now: Dimple, Love Unavoidable, The King Let Me Patrol the Mountains, and Where Are We Going, Dad? This person was none other than Yi Xian. Yi Xian, the male god, has also been invited. It is said that scarcity makes things precious, and it is precisely because Yi Xian rarely appears in public that they are highly anticipated. Seeing the uproar in the audience, Ning Schwanger already knew that the time had come. With a slight smile, she said, I believe you have guessed it already. Yes, it is Schwanger's friend Yi Xian, a musical prodigy. Next, please welcome Yi Xian to perform a solo piano piece of To Alice for us. Everyone, please welcome. Poof. Fog Grass? A piano solo? Goddess Frost? This. My goodness, Boss has too much face. Goddess Frost is letting Boss start directly. What's so strange about that? Boss is doing that because of his strength. Didn't you hear Goddess Frost say that Boss is a friend of the Goddess of Heaven? Lin Xiaoya sighed with emotion as he looked at the 3 pairs of 1/6 of a group, especially Feng Ruiqi, who was the girlfriend of Lu Fitu. Looking at the stage full of hope, he couldn't help but think of the song Wedding in a Dream that Yi Xian had played in the school broadcast room. It was still fresh in her mind, as if it had just happened yesterday. Wow! Mommy, it's Daddy. Oh my god, Frosty Mommy let Daddy go on first, and he's even playing the piano, OMG. Hee, I love listening to Daddy play the piano, I love it, giggles. As Papa's little fans, the 2 little ones of course kept encouraging him endlessly in a cute and cutesy way. They were so excited that they almost made Mu Hanchua unable to hold back the 2 little ones. That big pig's foot, is he going to show off again? Mu Hanchua couldn't help but roll her eyes at the excited 2 little ones, and sighed slightly on the stage. Just as everyone's attention was focused, a piano rose up on the stage, and next to it sat a handsome young man in a tuxedo. His first impression alone was incredibly in line with the many goddesses in the audience's fantasies of Prince Charming. Wow! The man in the tuxedo is so handsome. Lin Shiyu's beautiful eyes couldn't help but light up when she saw the man of her dreams next to the piano on stage. He was so handsome, so very handsome. She had never seen such a handsome man before. Although the previous male god was also very handsome, he was now even more handsome than before, and not just a little bit. My boss, this. Wearing a tuxedo really makes a difference. I wonder how many girls' hearts he's captured this time. Lao San Wang Lin sighed with emotion, and his girlfriend and the 2 pairs of Lin Xiaoya and Lu Feihu were also secretly impressed. Mommy, Daddy is so handsome. He is indeed a cute daddy. I want to kiss him. XOXO. Go daddy, you're the best. I love you, Meng Meng. Mu Hanchua. Ahem. You guys keep your voices down, don't disturb the others. Mu Hanchua, who coughed dryly, of course felt the stares of the people around her, and couldn't help but glare fiercely at the handsome and imposing big pig's feet on the stage. Humph, I knew he was a womanizer, just look back at me, I won't let you go until you're dry. Chapter 97, So? I've fallen in love with that big pig's feet a long time ago. A corner of the stage. Looking at the man in a tuxedo, the best friend of her best friend, the father of her twin godchildren, Ning Schwanger was full of emotion. To be honest, she envied her best friend extremely. Especially after witnessing Yi Xian's piano level, she had an urge to compete with her best friend for a man. Although reason eventually prevailed over emotion, there was no doubt that Yi Xian's presence was a different kind of attraction for all the goddesses yearning for love. Today is destined to be a feast for the eyes and ears for everyone. Not only will Yi Xian play piano tonight, she will also sing 2 songs. And even if she sings all 4 songs that Yi Xian wrote for her, each of which can be called a classic, they are Invisible Wings, Moscow Has No Tears, The Year We Were in a Rush and Resounding Rose. In particular, she was especially moved by the first one, Invisible Wings. Every time she sang this song, it was like seeing the young and naive her from many years ago, when she first entered the music scene. She had fought through the difficulties along the way, and after years of hard work, she had achieved success today. As Ning Shuang was reminiscing, a soothing and magical piano sound spread from the stage. In particular, with Yi Xian's use of the sound immersion card to enhance it, the song for Alice was presented in such a leisurely manner. In the midst of the original uproar, when they heard the unparalleled and extremely healing melody, everyone fell silent. Hiss. Fog grass? This is a piano piece played by a handsome guy. OMG, is this for real? It's so mesmerizing and amazing. Even though they don't really know much about piano, this piece played by the handsome guy is like holy water, washing away their impetuous souls and comforting their hearts. The beauty of music is fully expressed in this music for Alice at this moment. The notes of the piano sound are like mischievous smurfs, dancing in the air and then trickling into the heart, plucking at the heartstrings. The feeling is like being lifted into the clouds, with limbs, mind and brain all relaxing, and an indescribable lazy comfort all over the body. Words cannot describe this feeling, and it can only be experienced firsthand. It can even be said to be the most wonderful thing in life. They have never felt this way before, and they are absolutely certain of it. The divine instrument, the divine piano skills, and the incredible sound immersion card have produced a very subtle chemical reaction. Wow! Daddy, super awesome. The 2 little ones listened to the pleasant sound of the piano, their little faces beaming with an overwhelming sense of warmth. They were so proud, not just because their hero, their idol, was playing the piano, but because their hero was their omnipotent father. Phew! That big pig's foot is just a little too good. Mu Hanchua let out a deep sigh. What did this guy want, to ascend to immortality? She was extremely fond of piano music, and at this moment she admitted to worshipping that big jerk. She had always thought that the piano was the most beautiful instrument in the world, but she had never imagined that the charm of piano music could reach such a level. Excitement, exhilaration, disbelief. All kinds of emotions suddenly welled up in her heart. She had never felt this way before. Quietly, Mu Hanchua realized that she had fallen in love with that big pig's foot, that big bastard, that big rascal, who bullied her at every opportunity, from an unknown time. And this love came very violently, very hopeless. Perhaps the piano music here was the point at which her emotions exploded. So, I've long since fallen in love with that big pig's foot? A piano song made Mu Hanchua see clearly into her own heart, and she also figured out a lot of things. At the same time, she realized the source of her happiness during this period of time, and there was no denying that it was precisely Yi Xian. Since she got this cold-blooded person back, her life seems to have taken a different path, completely different from before. This big pig's foot is like a colorful ray of sunshine, pouring into her heart, but in the past she didn't care too much, or she was previously unwilling to admit that she was hopelessly in love with the man who took her blood. The scenes of the 2 of them getting along were like a tiger that had escaped from its cage flooding into her mind, whether they were sweet, hard to talk about, or being bullied by that big jerk. Every scene of their time together turned into a sweet spring, gushing with sweetness that filled her heart, and then wrapped her whole body and mind tightly. Suddenly, Mu Hanchua realized that she and her 2 daughters had long been unable to leave that guy. Unwittingly, as she thought about it, Muhancha's mouth revealed a charming knowing curve. That touch of charm made people want to get close to her and love her. 1 minute. 3 minutes. 5 minutes. The audience in the studio and the live audience were all mesmerized, wandering in the boundless ocean of unparalleled comfort and bliss, unable to extricate themselves. At this moment, the venue fell into an unprecedented silence, and even the sound of a needle dropping to the ground could be heard clearly. Every gaze was focused on the figure on the stage, as if that figure had some kind of magic that made them unable to look away. Although the Lin Shiyu live broadcast room was silent, the surge in the number of fans was unmistakable. 100,000. 130,000. 150,000. 200,000. It didn't take long for the number of followers to break the 200,000 mark, and then it was approaching 300,000 at a visible rate. The silence lasted for about 10 minutes, and it was only slightly relieved when the piano music came to an end. However, the many spectators in the audience and the fans in the broadcast room were still in a daze and could not wake up for a long time. The beauty of the instrument was pushed to the extreme by Yi Xian at this moment. Pop 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 Cough cough. Boss, you're the shit. You're really the boss. That was amazing. Lin Xiaoya coughed dryly and gasped. Damn, you're right. I thought last time was the pinnacle of your performance, but I didn't realize it was just your normal performance. You're hiding it really well, damn it. Wan Lin and Lu Feihu glanced at each other, both seeing the expression of disbelief in the other's eyes. The boss really tricked them this time. After spending 3 years together, they had no idea that the boss's piano skills were so extraordinary. They were afraid that even a piano master would not be able to match it. The boss is really not being fair, but damn, the boss is really awesome. Chapter 98, Two Butterflies, this song must be dedicated to Mama. Listening to the cheers and applause around them, Tong Tong and Meng Meng's little faces were beaming with joy, and the pride in their hearts was beyond words. Daddy is so good. He, worthy of being our daddy, Ali, give it to him. Looking at the happy faces of the two little ones, Muhanchi also let out a deep sigh of relief. Looking at the big show-off, she had an incredibly complex expression on her face, and ripples flashed in her eyes. Congratulations to the host for gaining plus 299 daddy points from Tong Tong. Congratulations to the host for gaining plus 299 daddy points from Meng Meng. Congratulations to the host for gaining plus 299 daddy points from Tong Tong. Congratulations to the host for getting plus 299 daddy points from Meng Meng. The two doting little helpers are contributing their daddy points for their dad, and they are overjoyed. Dad is super charming. The excitement of the crowd was not over yet. Ning Shuang'er on stage finally began to sing the first new song, and this first new song was none other than the song Invisible Wings written by Yi Xian, which was also her favorite. Every time. I am strong in loneliness. Every time. Even if I am hurt, I don't shed tears. I know. I have always had invisible wings. Take me flying, give me hope. The song is full of positive energy, and with Ning Shuang'er's unique voice and the thought of her own hardships and efforts in pursuing her dreams, this song Invisible Wings was perfectly presented by her. Undeniably, the atmosphere in the venue was once again lifted to a new height. Mommy, is this the song Daddy wrote for Shuang'er, Mommy? It's so nice. Daddy With the end of a song, Ning Shuang'er of course felt the enthusiasm of her fans. Needless to say, she knew that the song was very well sung. Seeing that her fans liked it so much, Ning Shuang'er also revealed a knowing smile. The microphone was pressed against her mouth, and she beamed. "This song is one of my favorites. Perhaps you don't know, but Yi Xian also wrote the lyrics and music for me, so that everyone can hear such beautiful music." Ha! Everyone's gaze was fixed on goddess Ning Shuang as she said, "This song was written by the male god Yi Xian, Lin Xiuya, Wang Lin and the others." Cough cough, what the hell? The song that the goddess of pop music sings so beautifully that it makes your ears pregnant was written by Boss 666666, awesome my male god. If the heavens hadn't given birth to Yishan, the music world would be like a long night forever. The audience started a heated discussion, and the fans in the broadcast room were also shocked. Then, Ning Schwanger sang another song, Moscow Has No Tears, during which several famous singers took to the stage one after the other, which attracted many fans. It wasn't until about half an hour later that, looking at the excited audience, Ning Schwanger, in her high heels, her alluring figure and the faint smile on her enchanting face, made people want to give her a kiss, and even talk about a 300 million project. This next song will be a classic as usual, and it's also a new song, and the singer is Yi Xian. Next, Yi Xian will sing a song for us called Two Butterflies. Everyone, welcome. Ning Schwanger gave a slight smile, and the audience in the venue and the broadcast room were taken aback. Two butterflies? What a common name. Mu Hanxi was taken aback when she heard it, and her pretty face immediately turned red. The words two butterflies made her think of scenes that were hard to talk about. That big jerk is crazy, actually, singing this song at his best friend's concert. Wow, two butterflies, hee hee, mommy is so happy, this song must be for you. Of course, daddy loves mommy the most, but why are there two butterflies, isn't there only one mommy? Mu Hanxua. Listening to the words of Tong Tong and Meng Meng, Mu Hanshua's mind went blank, but in this room, a voice full of magnetism and magic sounded on the stage. My dear, fly slowly. Watch out ahead. My dear, fly with me. With superb singing skills, a beautiful rhythm and a pleasant emotional tone, the crowd was captivated. Their minds could not help but conjure up scenes of great realism along with the singing. They were presented with a scene of warmth and tranquility, with two butterflies flitting among the roses and various other flowers, bypassing the thorny roses. However, this artistic conception did not sound at all right to Mu Hanxua's ears. This crazy person, is that guy crazy, singing such a song, this big jerk? At this moment, Mu Hanshua's pretty face turned red and hot. That big pig's foot was really hateful. To be honest, if it weren't for the fact that this was her best friend's concert, she really wanted to bite that bastard to death and reinstate the wife's authority. Shameless. It's really shameless. She completely underestimated the extent of this bastard's shamelessness. Is she the only one who heard that something was wrong with this song? Ha! Ning Shuang clearly did not know the thoughts of her best friend Mu Hanxi. Listening to the song in a different style, she was surprised. She obviously did not expect Yi Xian to be able to master this style of song. The two little guys also had a smile on their faces as they imagined the beautiful scene of butterflies fluttering in the flowers. Their little faces were full of happiness. It was also at this moment that the song continued with even more soothing music. You and I are entwined, fluttering and flying. Flying over this world of red dust, forever together. Chasing after your love for 1,000 lifetimes. Living up to my tenderness, your beauty. You and I are entwined, fluttering and flying. Flying over this world of red dust, forever together. Waiting until the autumn wind starts, the autumn leaves pile up. To be able to wither away with you, I have no regrets. The climax of the song came, and Mu Hanshua's beautiful eyes widened in disbelief, and her pretty face flushed with embarrassment. It was no wonder that she felt this way. Indeed, the big pigfoot and the two little guys had been paying too much attention to the thoughts of the butterfly and the cherry. Of course, the most important thing was that the guy's many tricks made her hard to forget. Listening to Yi Xian's song, she felt like she was going crazy. That bastard. Mu Yuan Shui, gritting her teeth, stared with hatred, wishing she could pierce that big pig's foot. She had already tolerated being bullied in private, but now he was openly bullying her. This was unacceptable. She was going to snap. That bastard. If I don't bite you to death tonight, I'll be damned. Shameless and detestable scoundrel. Chapter 99, The boss's crazy love for his wife is online, and it's terrifying. VIP seats. Mu Hanxi couldn't stop trolling, but the song that entered her heart and soul brought a different kind of warm and beautiful feeling to the scene and the fans in the broadcast room. They felt that this was the way love should be. Hey, the boss is worthy of the name. Catchy, the melody is super warm. After listening to the boss's song, Lin Xiaoya and the other two sighed with emotion, and every audience member in the venue revealed a knowing smile. It was also in this room that the stage took in the pensive expression of his beautiful wife. Yi Xian, holding the microphone, looked deeply at the peerless beauty with a smile curving the corner of his mouth. This next song, I want to dedicate to my most beautiful wife. The song is called Would You Be My Wife? And I also dedicate it to everyone. Wow! Daddy is going to sing 2 songs in a row, and both of them are for mommy. Ha, I'm super jealous. Mommy, Daddy loves you very much. As they listened to what their father was saying on stage, the 2 little ones looked at their mother with envy and jealousy in their eyes. Daddy is so biased, today he only knows to spoil mommy Humph, although they also like it very much, but they also want Daddy to spoil them. Don't say a word. She glared at Tong Tong and Meng Meng. She didn't care what anyone else thought. That song had really made her feel uncomfortable. It wasn't a song for her at all, it was a blatant attempt to bully her. That despicable, shameless bastard had completely refreshed her understanding of shamelessness. Lin Xiyu listened to what the male god said, and little stars twinkled in her eyes. She was completely a little fangirl. Will you be my wife? Oh my god, the male god is so sweet. Ning Shuang'er listened to Yi Xian's self-announcement, and her beautiful eyes couldn't help but glance at her best friend in the VIP seat. Her eyes were full of envy. Did her best friend save the galaxy in her past life, so that she could marry such a man who dotes on her in this life? At this moment, there was no denying that she was jealous. In fact, not only her, but also the hundreds of thousands of fans at the scene and in the broadcast room had sour tongues, as if they had eaten lemon slices. Showing off their love and feeding the dog food, do they have to be so open and aboveboard? How many intersections have I walked through, how many sighs have I heard? I'm serious, you're at a loss for what to do. This feeling of confusion, I think anyone would have it. In fact, you don't know, in my heart you are the most beautiful. Just like the rainbow in the sky after the rain. The sweet lyrics and melody, coupled with Yi Xian's superb singing skills and the terrifying sound immersion card effect, made the hearts of the listening crowd overflow with warmth, and their mouths curled up into a mesmerizing arc without them knowing when. Mu Hanchua, who had originally hated to the core, heard the voice coming from the stage here, and her beautiful eyes slightly widened in surprise. In fact, you don't know that in my heart you are the most beautiful, just like the rainbow in the sky after the rain and wind? This is, that bastard. The sudden confession of sweet singing voice was like a kind of healing medicine that quickly soothed Mu Hancha's resentment. Not only that, the super healing effect soon made Mu Hancha's heart overflow with sweetness. Her pretty face suddenly revealed a charming smile that made everyone around her look dull and pale. No one knew that such a charming smile was just for a certain guy. Her beautiful eyes, like 2 pools of water, once again looked at the obnoxious guy on stage who had just sung 2 butterflies. Her heart was full of sweetness, and all her previous anger and resentment disappeared along with the song. My goodness, boss, this wave of dog food has taken me by surprise. Lin Xiaoya listened to his boss's singing, his eyes wide in shock as he stared at the boss on stage, full of charisma. SSSHH. Damn, the boss is a crazy wife lover, it's terrifying. Wang Lin gasped, nearly choking on the dog food that the boss had stuffed in his mouth. With the way the boss spoils his wife, if my mother was a woman, she would definitely marry the boss too. Doesn't he smell good, singing and dancing every night? Ugh. Damn it, Lao San, don't disgust me. If you were a girl, I'd be the first to kick you off the dormitory building. Lu Feihu rolled his eyes at Wang Lin. If his dignified appearance were to turn into a woman, it would be a disaster for them, and the image would be too miserable to bear. You, humph. Hey, if the boss's fans knew that I used to sleep naked with the boss for half a semester, I don't know. With a flash. Hearing Wang Lin's words, Feng Xiaoshan and the other 2 girls' beautiful eyes fell on Wang Lin at the same time, and even Wang Lin's girlfriend felt the same way. Being stared at by these 3 beautiful girls, Wang Lin felt even more pleased. Lin Xiaoya and Lu Feihu snapped their fingers twice and slapped Wang Lin on the back of the head. Shut up. Do you want to force the boss to spit out our dog food or what? Foggy grass? Second and fourth, you dare to sneak attack me. Lin Xiaoya. Lu Feihu. Pa, sneak attack your sister, if you make a sound again, I'll beat you up now, believe it or not. Lin Xiaoya was really disgusted, this 3rd younger brother really couldn't stop talking nonsense. Click click. Lu Feihu didn't say a word, but his clenched fists already showed his decision. Obviously, if Lao San dared to be noisy again, he would just start fighting. Wang Lin, air. Cough, joke, just kidding, hee hee hee. Wang Lin gulped down a mouthful of saliva and laughed dryly. He knew very well that these two could definitely do what they said, even if it was now Frosty's concert. Of course, that wasn't the most important thing. The most important thing was that his combat power was definitely the worst among the four, and the difference was not just a little bit. If he could surpass the second and fourth, he definitely wouldn't be like this. He knows how to adapt to circumstances, and he's not stupid. He has the ability to see things as they are. While the three brothers were playing around, the number of followers in Lin Shiyu's live broadcast room had already soared past the 500,000 mark, at a speed that was unparalleled. It was also at this time that the climax of the song arrived quietly amidst the attention of the crowd. If you don't know where to go tomorrow, just stay by my side and be my wife, okay? My not wide enough arms will be yours. Warm embrace. If you're tired of the storms outside, just stay by my side and be my wife, okay? I will definitely bear with your occasional little temper. Maybe I can also give you a little surprise. A laugh, a simple and secure little nest. Accompany you at sunrise and sunset, till old age. A look full of tenderness, a voice full of magnetism, this moment caused an emotional outburst without warning. Every note seemed to turn into invisible dog food. With the stage as the center, the sound spread in all directions, instantly filling every corner of the opera house. Lin Xiaoya and the other two men's pupils suddenly contracted, all of them staring wide-eyed. Large foggy clouds appeared in their minds. Boss bullshit Godzilla, they were convinced by this wave of dog food. Chapter 100, Daddy is going to do some more magic tricks. In the VIP seats, Mu Hanshue's eyes sparkled. This guy. There was no denying that at this moment, Mu Hanshue was incredibly moved. If you don't know where to go tomorrow, will you stay and be my wife? Such lyrics struck the softest place in her heart with extreme precision. Not to mention Mu Hanshue, I'm afraid no girl can escape this kind of song confession. The feeling of sweetness and happiness welled up from the spring of her heart. The sweetness of love made Mu Hanshue feel indescribably comfortable and sweet. Her emotions then surfaced in her words, and the corners of her mouth curled up into a smile that made all the flowers pale. Her beautiful eyes were also smiling crescent moon shape. The entire face, which was like a city that could charm the world, was filled with the sweetness of love. The feeling of sweetness was so strong that her heart and liver could barely take it, pounding violently as if it might jump out at any moment. Wow, is Daddy confessing his love to Mommy? That's so sweet. It's super sweet, just like how Daddy spoils us. Look, Mommy is moved. The two little ones looked at their moved mother with a smile, as Daddy stole the show and confessed his love for her. This was their favorite scene, and they would watch it for 3 days and nights if they could. Who? This is the man of my dreams? He's so spoiling. Lin Xiyu looked out at the scene and let out a deep sigh of relief. She was touched. Yes, she was really touched. Although the song wasn't sung for her, it was really, really good. If she got tired of the ups and downs of the outside world, would it be okay if she stayed by her side and be my wife? It was simply sweet. Until now, Lin Xiyu no longer knows how much dog food she has eaten. She only knows that she didn't even eat dinner and she is not hungry at all right now. The fans in the live broadcast room were also in an uproar. Mom, Yi Xian is a crazy husband lover, this operation, an absolute master. Amazing, the man is awesome. The male god is so handsome, I want to have lots and lots of monkeys with him. Male god, stop singing and protect your voice. Come with me, I have 10 gold mines and dozens of villas, they are all yours. All you have to do is sing and make love with me every day, OMG. Male god, I really love you so much, what should I do? A mistress who doesn't need to take responsibility is fine. Hundreds of comments flooded the screen of the live broadcast room, especially from the girls, who were fighting with all their strength. The number of followers in the live broadcast room soared. Time flew by, and the only thing that remained was the sound of the song, which lulled the hearts and minds of the audience into a deep trance. The audience was showered with dog treats, but they were happy to receive them. At the edge of the stage, Ning Schwanger looked at Yi Xian, who was stealing the show. She was the godmother of her goddaughter, and her heart was full of emotions. Sure enough, was her decision the right one? There was no doubt that inviting Yi Xian would be the perfect way to end her concert tour. This would also become an existence that no one in the music industry could surpass, and this night would be remembered by countless people. When the song ended, the crowd fell silent. At a certain moment, the song came to an end, and the entire stadium fell silent. Everyone's thoughts were still wandering in a sea of sweetness, unable to extricate themselves. Oh. The silence lasted for more than 10 seconds, and then the audience burst into a tsunami of applause and cheers. Even now, the melody and the sweet longing it evoked were still echoing in everyone's minds. Suddenly, amid the applause and cheers, a figure stood up in the audience. It was obvious that this was the only way to vent the excitement in his heart. And then, suddenly, 330, 300, 3,000. The figure stood up from the audience, and in an instant, all the audience members stood up. Then, the applause and shouts intensified, as if thunder had exploded. The applause and cheers rose and intertwined in the air, stronger than ever before, deafening and almost as if it would shatter people's eardrums. At this moment, the atmosphere of the concert reached its peak. The stars of the music scene looked at the audience and the boiling venue, all of them were shocked. They looked at Yi Xian with eyes full of complex and shock. If this guy really steps into the music scene, his rise will be unstoppable, and any music genius will pale in comparison. The intense atmosphere continued, and Ning Schwanger once again sang the other two songs that year, hurriedly, and the sound of the wind, rain, and rainbow, the resounding rose. Unsurprisingly, the audience once again went wild. During this time, coupled with the performances of various celebrity stars, the intense atmosphere did not weaken by even half, continuing to be explosive. Another hour passed, and Ning Schwanger came to the stage, dripping with sweat, picked up the microphone, and held it to her mouth. The concert was over, but she still had another show, which she had just learned about. She smiled slightly at the audience. Everyone may not know yet, but your idol Yi Xian, in addition to singing and playing the piano, actually has another ability, which is magic. I wonder. Do you want to see it? Ning Schwanger said with a slight smile at the corner of her mouth. Yi Xian was obviously not surprised by this, because it had been agreed beforehand. Ha! As soon as Ning Schwanger said this, the eyes of the more than 100,000 audience members in the stadium paused, and then they all shone brightly. The male god can also do magic. Yes. After a moment of hesitation, an overwhelmingly unanimous answer resounded through the stadium. Are you kidding? Although they have seen magic tricks more than once, Yi Xian's magic tricks are a different story. They have never seen a godly man perform magic tricks before, and just thinking about it makes them excited. Lin Shiyu was stunned when she heard this, and immediately the scene in Guishu village came to mind. Not only her, but also the fans in the broadcast room were talking about it. Lin Xiuya and the others. Boss, this is just another attempt to show off. Cough, showing off. Lu Feihu coughed dryly, looking at the stage. What happened today really had a big impact on them. Meeting a god like the boss in this life is enough for me to brag about for a year, no, at least 10 years. Wang Lin laughed heartlessly and insensitively. If the boss's fans knew that he had slept with the boss for half a semester, I wonder, what kind of reaction would those adoring fans have? Magic trick. Magic trick. Magic. Magic. While Lin Xiuya and the others were discussing, the fans at the scene had already started screaming and yelling uncontrollably. Their eyes were filled with anticipation and hope. They certainly wouldn't miss such a wonderful scene. Hearing the deafening sound, Tong Tong and Meng Meng's big, wide eyes were filled with stars. Wow, Daddy's going to do magic again, yes. Kiki, I really like it when Daddy does magic tricks. I wonder what magic trick he'll do today. The two little ones looked at Daddy on the stage with anticipation and adoration, beaming like idiots. Mu Hanxue, on the other hand, let out a deep sigh and looked at the man who captured her heart with dazed, rippling eyes, wondering, what magic trick would he do this time? Chapter 101, Papa in the photo is super handsome and charismatic. Magic trick. This stunt undoubtedly attracted the attention of everyone. Feeling the eager anticipation in the crowd, Ning Schwanger gave a slight smile and said, okay, next up, Yi Xian will give us a magic show. Everyone, welcome. This wave of build-up was just right. The audience heard the words of the goddess of the day and were fully prepared to enjoy the magic show by the male god. Soon, in the eyes of the audience and fans in the broadcast room, a familiar figure appeared on the stage. When this figure appeared, the eyes of the many cute girls on the scene bloomed with green light. If it weren't for the fact that this was the Divas concert, they would really rush up and knock their male god over, even if it was just to take advantage of the situation. Without further ado, I will present this magic trick for you all. I hope you all have a good evening. The voice fell, and then the magic began. He pretended to do a few actions to show that he had nothing in his hands. Then, at a certain moment, he flipped his right hand over, and without warning, a photo appeared in the middle of the stage. The photo was none other than Yi Xian's handsome and intimidating signed photo. Ding! Congratulations to the host for redeeming 500 signed photos, which cost the host 100 points of daddy value. Obviously, the autographed photo in Yi Xian's hands was redeemed from the system, and this autographed photo is different from ordinary photos. It will not melt in fire, will not rot in water, and will not be damaged even if it is exposed to the sun for 100 years. If the autographed photo in Yi Xian's hands here is known to the relevant department, it will definitely be sliced and studied. Sigh. A sound of breaking air sounded, and the next moment, the autographed photo in Yi Xian's hands flew at a very fast speed towards the audience in the arena. This is a signed photo. A signed photo of Yi Xian. A pretty girl in the audience screamed when she saw the object in her hands, her face turning red with excitement. Ha! Hearing the scream of the pretty girl, the audience was stunned. Yi Xian's godly male just changed into a signed photo of his own. The scene immediately erupted into chaos. But just as everyone's eyes shone with anticipation as they gathered towards Yi Xian, they saw Yi Xian flip his hands over, and at the same time, a signed photo appeared in one hand. From scratch, the many spectators immediately perked up, and just now, they didn't know that now they knew very well that it was Yi Xian's autographed photo, which had never happened before. With a sound of breaking the air, two screams identical to the previous ones rang out in the arena, and without surprise, two more people got autographed photos. However, this was just the beginning. As soon as the screams of the audience died down, Yi Xian flipped his hands on the stage and two autographed photos appeared in each hand, a total of 4 in both hands. Then he flipped his hands, made an arc, and there was a scream. The cycle continued, and the more autographed photos Yi Xian released from his hands, the more there were. From the beginning there were 4, then 6, then 8, and finally 10. Wave after wave of autographed photos released from Yi Xian's hands, and Lin Xiaoya and the many audience members were dazzled by the speed of his hands. Gee, my goodness. Boss, this speed and skill are amazing. Wang Lin looked at his boss on stage, showing off and dazzling everyone, and he was filled with admiration. If he had the boss's abilities, then, my goodness, the girls who chased after and admired him would definitely be able to line up from Shanghai University to Xuanwu University, and they would all be beautiful girls at the level of school beauties. Boss, this magic trick is really outrageous. Yes, you can see how crazy the audience is, especially the girls. Lin Xiaoya and Lu Feihu were also talking about the boss, who was stealing the limelight on the stage. To be honest, it would be a lie to say they weren't envious. Hee wow, daddy is so amazing, Tong Tong wants one too. Meng Meng too, Meng Meng also wants a signed photo of daddy. Seeing the almost boiling crowd, the two little ones also screamed in a sweet voice, asking for Baba's autographed photo. Seeing the excited and expectant looks of the two little ones, Mu Hanshi couldn't help but feel a little jealous. To be able to make your daughter admire you like this is undoubtedly a great achievement and pride for parents. With Yi Xian's eyesight and hearing, of course he could easily hear the voices of the two little ones. As a crazy fan of spoiling his daughter, how could he not satisfy his little lover's request? Once again, 10 autographed photos were handed out, but this time 8 flew to the far end of the audience, and 2 landed in the hands of Tong Tong and Meng Meng. And they landed in the hands of the two little ones with amazing skill. Of course this scene did not attract more attention. Wow, daddy's autographed photo. Daddy looks super handsome in the photo, so charming. The two little ones' big eyes were full of joy and happiness, and their pretty faces were beaming from ear to ear. You could tell that daddy really dotes on them, and they were really, really happy. That guy. Mu Hanshue felt a little sour when she saw the big piggy's actions. Her emotions were very complex. That big jerk dotes so much on their daughter, and as a mother she is of course very happy about it, but as a wife and girl, she undoubtedly envies the two little ones as well. With their big, sparkling eyes, the two little ones looked at the handsome daddy in the photo, and they couldn't be happier. Their cute appearance made people want to squeeze them. Congratulations, host, you have received plus 333 daddy points from Tong Tong. Congratulations, host, you have received plus 333 daddy points from Meng Meng. Congratulations, host, you have received plus 333 daddy points from Tong Tong. Congratulations, host, you have received plus 333 daddy points from Mingmeng. No surprise, the two little ones' admiration and favor for their father has skyrocketed, and the quality of their fatherly values has also improved significantly. But before Yi Xian's mouth could curve up into a slight arc, the system's voice came through again. Ding! For the first time, you have given your daughter an autographed photo, and you have obtained the ability, God-level driving. God-level driving, the host with this skill has the ability of a god of car driving, and can easily master all kinds of top drifting techniques. Not only that, but all kinds of tanks, planes, cannons, and other vehicles and equipment related to driving can be easily controlled, as easy as walking on flat ground. Yi Xian was taken aback when the system's introduction ended. God-level driving? A car god? Planes and cannons? As easy as walking on the ground? This ability is a bit powerful. Forget about being a car god, he can even fly planes and cannons. And his intuition tells him that as long as he is willing, he can fly the latest fighter jets to any country, anywhere. Interesting. A faint curve appeared at the corner of his mouth as he muttered. His mood was also quite good, and he was even more interested in the magic show. Just like that. 50, 100, 200. In the corner of the stage, Ning Schwanger's mouth hung open in disbelief. Her goddaughter's poop seemed to have turned into a signature photo production machine, and waves of them surged towards the audience, as if the opera house was suddenly raining with autographed photos. Chapter 102 Uncle Lin, you are our fans. Time flies. A magic show ends amidst the roaring crowd, and the concert is also coming to an end. The eyes of many famous singers and stars have subtly changed when looking at Yi Xian. It is no surprise that Yi Xian's future will be unlimited. Lin Xiyu listened to the voices of the many excited audience members around her, and once again looked at the figure on stage. The performance of the just-performed magical autograph signing trick flashed before her eyes like a movie, and she couldn't help but think of the magic of the colorful bubbles at the bonfire party in Guishu village earlier. After about a quarter of an hour, the many audience members at the opera house left in an orderly manner, enthusiastically discussing the magic trick in today's concert. Wow! Daddy, daddy, daddy! After the audience and singers left, there were only Mu Hanshua, the two little ones, Lin Xiuya, and of course Ning Schwanger left in the venue. Mu Hanshua wasn't paying attention, and when Tong Tong and Meng Meng broke free, they rushed into the arms of the big piggy, calling sweetly, Daddy. Daddy, you're amazing. Especially the magic trick just now, how did you do it? After giving their father a kiss, the two little ones kept praising him. Seeing the three of them acting like a family, Lin Xiuya and Feng Xiaoshan looked at each other and saw the passion in each other's eyes. They returned home and vowed to work harder to perfect their plan to make a baby in the shortest time possible. Ning Schwanger saw the way the two little ones doted on their father, and she felt jealous and sour. It's all because you're so good to them, and all you can see is your father, not your godmother me. Where? Schwanger mommy is also super awesome. Schwanger mommy kisses. The two little ones said this as they embraced and kissed the goddess in their eyes, in front of the attention of the 6 people from Lin Xiuyang. But that's not the most important thing, the most important thing is their title. What the hell? I didn't hear it wrong, the goddess Schwanger is the godmother of Tong Tong and Meng Meng. Lu Feihu's eyes bulged as he stared at the field in disbelief, wondering what he had heard. Not just Lu Feihu, but Lin Xiuya and Wang Lin were also stunned. In that case, does it mean that their boss is related to the famous pop diva Frost Fairy? This is terrifying when you think about it. The group couldn't help but think about how Yi Xian had appeared at Frost Fairy's concert in Shanghai just before. Now that they thought about it, it all made sense. Are you kidding? The two are actually related by marriage, so it's no wonder that Goddess Schwanger is so supportive of their boss at concerts, and that she doesn't want any other family to reap the rewards. But that's also why their boss doesn't dabble in the music industry. If he did, he would definitely become the next king of the music industry. Of course, judging from their understanding of their boss would never dabble in the music industry. After all, in their boss's opinion, their boss's daughter is the one who matters most to him, and the so-called music industry is nothing but a passing cloud in his eyes. As the two little guys kissed her stunning cheeks, Ning Schwanger was satisfied and spoiled, pinching the faces of the two little guys. Such a skillful action has obviously been repeated countless times. That's more like it. Feeling the residual warmth on her cheeks, Ning Schwanger's mouth curled up into a mesmerizing arc, and the charm of that look made Lin Xiuya, Wang Lin, and Lu Feihu unable to help but swallow their saliva. Beautiful. She is the most beautiful woman in the world. They were talking about the current queen of the music scene, their goddess Schwanger. And when compared to their goddess, they discovered that their sister-in-law's appearance and charm were even better than Schwanger's. Looking at the scene, Lin Xiaoya and the other two were overwhelmed with emotion. They didn't realize that their boss had fulfilled the lifelong dream of countless men. A rich wife who was a peerless beauty, two super cute little sprouts, and a godlike godmother who was a diva of the music world. This combination is honestly one that will leave 99.999999% of people far behind. Envy, jealousy, admiration. All kinds of emotions have emerged here, and there is no denying that Yi Xian will be an unreachable goal in their lives. I don't know if it's an illusion, but ever since their boss has been with his sister-in-law, it seems like his looks and charisma have improved every day. He was already the school's most popular guy, but with his sister-in-law's nourishment, he's become even more extraordinary. Looking at their boss in the middle of the field, they suddenly thought of a poem, "People on the road are like jade, and the gentleman is peerless." Although they don't want to admit it, at the moment, their boss's image is already indistinguishable from theirs. Yi Xian, thank you. Ning Schwanger petted the heads of the two little guys, and sincerely thanked Yi Xian. Whether in public or private, this thank you is deserved. We're all family, it's no big deal, he said nonchalantly, waving his hand. After all, for him, a few songs were just a matter of turning his hand. Lin Xiaoya. Damn, the boss is so good at acting, I'm speechless. Not only Lin Xiaoya, but also Wan Lin and Lu Fei, who rolled their eyes and spat out their words, secretly thinking that the boss was really shameless. By the way, let me introduce you to some people. Thinking of a few guys not far away, who are also hardcore fans of Ning Schwanger, Lin Xiaoya and the others laughed. Second, third, and fourth, come over here and meet your goddess. Okay. Hearing their boss call them, the three of them each brought their own little girlfriends forward. Unable to hide their excitement, the six of them blushed slightly. After all, the diva standing in front of them was the popular queen of the music scene, the goddess of countless people's dreams, Ning Schwanger. At this moment, the three of them, no, the six of them, were extremely nervous. Happiness had come too suddenly, and they had not expected their boss to introduce them to their goddess. Hee, Uncle Lin, you are our Frosties fans. The two little guys were also very happy to see the three uncles again and greeted them, their hearts full of pride. After rubbing the minds of the two little guys, he followed Ning Schwanger's introduction. These are my roommates at school. This is Lin Xiaoya, the second oldest, Wan Lin, the third oldest, and Lu Feihu, the fourth oldest, and next to them are their girlfriends. While talking, his eyes couldn't help but fall on Feng Ruiqi next to the fourth child, Lu Feihu. Fourth child, I can't tell, you're pretty fast. Hearing the words of his senior and idol Yi Xian, Feng Ruiqi's pretty face flushed slightly, while the fourth child, Lu Feihu, with a tiger's head and a tiger's brain, ran his hand through the back of his head, thanks to the eldest. Seeing Yi Xian's three friends who were on good terms with each other, and who were also his fans, Ning Schwanger gave a faint smile, took 6 music albums from the side and signed her name on them. This is a gift for you on our first meeting. Chapter 103, So, Bobby A is such a great driver, bravo Bobby A. A little. Yi Xian took the two little ones and Mu Hanshi to the parking lot, got into a Cadillac CT5, which was the car that Shelley had parked in the parking lot of the Imperial Capital and temporarily used it. With the divine driving ability, Yi Xian, sitting in the driver's seat, obviously felt different from before, and knew everything about the various performance of this car. Cadillac CT5, body dimensions are 4,924 1883, 1453, 1445 mm long, wide and high respectively, and the wheelbase is 2,947 mm. It is powered by a 2.0T variable cylinder turbocharged engine with a maximum power of 174 kilowatts and a peak torque of 350 Nm. The incredibly detailed data appeared in Yi Xian's mind. Although it could not be compared to the top 10 luxury supercars, it was still considered a car with relatively high cost performance. With the power and skill, he started the car, feeling the hum of the engine. He pressed the accelerator to the floor, and the roar of the engine sounded like a roaring beast. The car's tires spun at high speed, friction with the ground sending up a cloud of smoke. At a certain moment, it roared into the distance, turning into a blue light. Although it was an ordinary Cadillac, Yi Xian drove it like a supercar. Damn it, are you trying to kill me? Seeing the big pig's feet next to him suddenly accelerate, Mu Hanshi glared at him fiercely. They had almost hit a car just now, but Yi Xian had performed a perfect drift to move out of the parking space. The owners in the parking lot. What the hell? Drifting a supercar? No, that's a Cadillac, damn it. Who is that guy? His driving skills are awesome. Drifting directly out of the parking space, this maneuver is definitely done by a master. The owners who were about to drive away were obviously shocked by the scene in front of them. Such a maneuver is not something that ordinary people can do. Boom! Squeak! When the people in the parking lot came back to their senses, the dark blue Cadillac had already made another drift around the corner, speeding out of the parking lot without slowing down, as fast as thunder. Leaving behind a stunned group of people, they all thought the same thing: the god of speed from Mount Chiu. On the other side, leaving the parking lot, it continued to weave through the constant stream of cars at full speed. Wow! Daddy is such a good driver, even Auntie Lee can't drive as well as Daddy. So Daddy is such a good driver, Daddy is awesome. The two little ones' eyes were full of excitement as they sped along at high speed, and it was obvious that they had not been let for a ride in the car by Auntie Lee very often. This guy. Mu Shueshue was also taken aback by Yi Xian's driving skills. The drifting she had done before could be done with practice, but the current speed and driving skills were much higher than Xiuli's. Even his driving skills are so good. Unable to help herself, Mu Shueshue bit her red lips. Cooking, music, musical instruments, acrobatics, magic. Now it's driving skills. Mu Hanchuan narrowed her eyes slightly, as if she wanted to pierce Yi Xian's eyes. She was really curious about how much more ability this guy had that she didn't know about. Squeak! Adrift, turning onto the shortcut to the Kennedy Hotel. Going from here to the hotel will save at least 5 minutes, but the road conditions are very complicated, so most drivers don't choose this route. Buzz. Accelerate. Accelerate. Keep going fast. A flash of pale blue light made Mu Hanchua's eyes twitch. There was no denying that this was the fastest car she had ever ridden in. Wow, this is so exciting, Daddy's driving skills are superb. Hee, Daddy, go faster. The two little ones screamed with excitement, not at all surprised. Their courage was outrageous, as if they weren't the ones sitting in the car. Mu Hanchua. These two little ones have really been corrupted by that big pig's foot. Are you kidding? A 2-year-old cute kid sitting in a speeding car, not the slightest bit scared, do you believe it? What Yi Xian didn't know was that their car had entered the ongoing drag racing section. Several kilometers away from here, a young man was speeding towards the finish line, his eyes flashing with a hint of joy. Chen Yuma, this time I'm definitely going to be your boyfriend. He had been planning this competition for a long time, and had spent a huge sum of money modifying the supercar, so that its performance in every way was completely incomparable to before. And this was the source of his confidence in winning this time. Shit, what the hell? What just passed by? Just as Wei Tian was overjoyed, a scream sounded from the chat group on his phone, his terrified expression as if he had seen a ghost. You idiot, this is the mountains. Drive slowly, there are Tong Tong and the others in the car. Mu Hanchue glared at the big pig's feet, who were showing off their driving skills without slowing down at all. It would be false to say that she wasn't scared. Bobby ABA, don't worry about us, speed up and drive. Pass them, Bobby A Meng Meng believes you are the best driver. The two little ones' completely opposite voices sounded in Mu Hanchue's ears, and she couldn't help but frown. Were these two little ones not scared at all? Damn it! We fell for Wei Tian's trap. Chen Yuma's eyebrows furrowed tightly. The condition of Wei Tian's car today was completely off. It must have undergone some major modifications, otherwise it would not have been possible to drive at such a speed. But she couldn't lose, because if she lost, she would have to become Wei Tian's girlfriend. Of course, the prerequisite was that Wei Tian became the first place today. Hum. Just then, a rapid humming sound came from behind, and in an instant it accelerated and disappeared around the sharp turn ahead. Just now, what? Chen Yuma's beautiful eyes widened, and he watched as the faint blue light flashed past the corner of the turn. The car! How is that possible? The speed did not decrease at all in the corner. No, to be precise, the car was still accelerating when it turned. Just then, Chen Yuma heard the sound of chatter in the group chat, undoubtedly people who had seen the car with the faint blue light as Chen Yuma had. Who is that? Chen Yuma's beautiful eyes glanced meaningfully in the direction of the finish line. As long as Wei Tian was not in first place, she would not have to be that guy's girlfriend. Wei Tian looked at the distant lights of the finish line getting closer and closer on the other side, and couldn't help but smile wickedly at the corner of his mouth. Chen Yuma, you are still my woman after all. You are mine, and your Chen family will eventually be ours, the Wei family, too. Ha ha. With a cold snort, Wei Tian increased the gas pedal again, preparing to rush to the finish in one go. However, just then, there was a buzzing sound, and a flash of eerie blue light passed by, directly confusing Wei Tian. Holy shit, I've been overtaken? This is impossible. Chapter 104, My cousin's dream goddess actually has a man and a child. Wei Tian's eyes were filled with shock. In their circle, apart from Chen Yuma, who could outperform him in terms of driving skills, no one else was his match at all. What's more, his car had now been heavily modified, and its performance and speed had increased by an unknown amount. Even Chen Yuma was no match for him, but who was that person? Although it flashed by in an instant, Wei Tian still managed to catch some information. His intuition told him that the dark blue car was not a supercar. It was just, how could it be? Upon thinking about this, his first thought was to reject it. Are you kidding? Every car here is a supercar, and it can be overtaken by an ordinary car? But that's not the most important thing. The most important thing is that this race is crucial for him. Not only is it about him putting Chen Yuma, that little bitch, under his feet, but also about the next move of their Wei family. Wow, Daddy has overtaken another one, awesome. He, of course, it's not like it's not my dad's poop, haha. Tong Tong and Meng Meng chattered back and forth, and Mu Hanshue's eyes fluttered slightly as she gained a new understanding of the courage of the two little ones. The end of the drag race. Guess who will be the first to arrive, Brother Tian or Sister Mo? Among the waiting crowd, one young man looked expectantly into the distance. It must be Brother Tian, of course. He's using a modified supercar, which is much better than Sister Mo's. A follower of Wei Tian spoke proudly. If Tian wins, Chen Yuma will become Tian's girlfriend, and they will all look good. After all, both the Wei and Chen families are much stronger than them. At the end of the drag race, while everyone was talking excitedly, a buzzing and roaring sound spread, instantly attracting everyone's attention. Here it comes. Everyone at the finish line looked towards the source of the sound, and suddenly a dark blue shadow rapidly approached in their field of vision, but everyone was dumbfounded. Dark blue? Obviously, the intrusion of this color into their field of vision greatly surprised them. In their expectations, it should have been Wei Tian's phantom black Lamborghini or Chen Yuma's burgundy Ferrari. Squeak, squeak, squeak. The sound of emergency brakes pierced the silent night, resounding through the drag racing finish line. But when the dark blue car came to a stop, the crowd was dumbfounded. What? Foggy grass, this is a Cadillac. How could it be? I'm not dreaming, a Cadillac actually won the drag race. Damn, who is that guy, so ruthless? At the finish line, everyone was in an uproar. They couldn't help but be so. It was a joke, a Cadillac car won against many supercars. What did that mean? They said it too clearly. Boom. After a while, a phantom black car sped up and made a drift and a hard brake to stop in the middle of the field. This person was none other than Wei Tian, the owner of the Lamborghini modified car that Yi Xian had overtaken. Wei Tian slammed the door and got out of the car, staring at the dark blue Cadillac with a gloomy expression. When he saw that he had lost to someone else's car, his eyelids suddenly twitched wildly. Damn it, what the hell? The person who beat me drove a car that wasn't a supercar. Wei Tian's face was full of gloom, and then he gave a wink to his followers around him. The followers, understanding what he meant, wanted to go up to him, obviously not willing to let such an annoying guy leave so easily. Just then, another roar of a beast exploded, and then a speeding burgundy Ferrari came to the field. The many followers who wanted to surround it stopped, obviously fearing the person who had arrived. The car door opened, and then a little beauty with at least a 9.5 appearance score came to the field. She was about 17 or 18 years old and undoubtedly had a pretty face that would ruin a country. Why, Wei Tian, can't you take a loss? Seeing the attitude of Wei Tian's followers, Chen Yuma could not help but see what he meant, which was that he absolutely did not want the person who had won him to leave. While talking, Chen Yuma had already arrived in the middle of the field and then picked up a silver suitcase from the referee's table. This handsome guy, today, thanks to you, otherwise I would have fallen for that guy's trap. You win, you lose, this 500,000 prize money is yours. From the beginning of the competition, she had known everything about Wei Tian's acceleration. That Wei Tian had schemed and planned to set a trap for her in order to make her his girlfriend. Wow, Baba won the prize and there's money too. Baba, hurry up and give it to me, Meng Meng has never seen so much money before. Before Yi Xian could reply, Chen Yuma gave the two cute little guys the silver suitcase with a smile, here you go. Thank you, Auntie. Seeing the pretty auntie give Baba his spoils, his little face was full of joy, and he easily caught the suitcase. After all, Peach Blossom Immortal Brew is no ordinary brew. Thanks. Seeing the two little guys guarding the silver suitcase like their own children, she smiled slightly and did not refuse. Then she stepped on the accelerator to the end, and once again turned into a dark blue shadow and sped off into the distance. Although it was an ordinary Cadillac, to everyone's surprise, the speed was almost as fast as a supercar. Foggy grass. This is the god of cars. Looking at the dark blue shadow of the supercar speeding away, everyone in the field gasped, and Wei Tian's heart was already filled with tears. How could this be? This isn't the right script. The person everyone admires and looks up to should be him, Wei Tian. Right, how could it be that kid from nowhere? Bastard. The fat meat on the table just flew away. How could Wei Tian be willing to accept that? Wei Tian, it seems that you have lost today, but you really made me refresh my understanding of shamelessness. I, Chen Yuma, will remember what happened today. With a cold snort, Chen Yuma's unsympathetic beautiful eyes glanced at Wei Tian. From the beginning, he had no affection for this person, and now, apart from disgust, he felt nothing else for Wei Tian. Yuma, listen to me. Boom. Before Wei Tian could finish speaking, Chen Yuma had already driven off in his supercar, leaving Wei Tian's heart to plummet to the bottom. Damn, the plan had completely failed, and his relationship with Chen Yuma had worsened. This was undoubtedly the worst thing that could happen to him. If the old man knew, he would definitely hang him up and beat him. Hey! Not long after leaving the drag racing finish line, Chen Yuma let out a light hey as he looked at the beautiful girl in the passenger seat in the secretly taken photo, and then his eyebrows furrowed slightly. This woman looks familiar, like I've seen her somewhere before. Chen Yuma's mind flashed past one figure after another, all of whom he couldn't think of who that woman was, and she was also incredibly beautiful. Suddenly, a figure finally settled in her mind, merging with the figure of Mu Hanshi. It can't be that coincidental, isn't that woman my cousin's dream goddess? My god, that woman is my cousin's forbidden fruit, I must tell him about this, no. Chen Yuma, who had just wanted to make a phone call, had a flash of a scene in his mind, his pupils suddenly shrinking and his pretty face full of horror. My cousin's dream goddess has actually got a man, and even had a child. Chapter 105, Crisis Strikes, the end of the Cherry Blossom Club begins. Leaving the finish line, they drove towards the JFK Hotel. The two little guys looked at the silver suitcase with a smile, Baba's trophy, their hearts full of pride and pride. Because Baba's driving skills were much better than they had imagined. You big jerk, driving so fast, what are you doing? Mu Hanshu's beautiful eyes glared fiercely at the big pig's foot next to her. This bastard just knows to show off everywhere, doesn't he know that it's dangerous like this, that big idiot? As for the danger, Yi Xian of course knew, but, for someone with the ability of divine driving, he was completely able to avoid it through his driving skills. It is necessary to know that with Yi Xian's current driving skills, even the Akina mountain car god in front of him is a worthless existence. Of course I will. A sentence with no reason accompanied by a wicked smile entered Mu Hanxi's ears. Mu Hanxi, who had originally been scolding, was first taken aback, and then her pretty face suddenly turned a rosy red. Pfft, shameless. Such an explicit remark caused Mu Hanxi's heart to flutter. Of course she knew what that big pig was talking about. It was shameless, it was bad, how could that bastard be like that? The two little ones tilted their cute little heads, looked at their father, and then at their mother, and couldn't help but smile. Although they didn't know what their father and mother were talking about, they knew that their father must have bullied their mother again. That must be it. Every time their father bullied their mother would act like this. On the other side, the Kennedy Hotel is on the way. The fish has entered the net. In a van, there is a man with a mustache. A voice rings out over the intercom. This man with a mustache is named Sato Ichigo, a killer of the Cherry Blossom Society, and not just an ordinary killer. His code name is Silver 13, one of the few silver medal killers in the Cherry Blossom Society. Their purpose for this trip was to receive a large order and come to assassinate a man named Yi Xian. Move out. Ichigo Sato's eyes shone as he looked at the information on the tablet in his hands. Intelligence shows that this target is quite strong, so we must make sure to kill him with one strike. Yes. Understood, Lord Jin 13. Ichigo Sato's voice fell, and responses from all sides sounded in the walkie-talkie. They were only the first wave of assassins, a total of 18 people, 5 snipers, and 13 people in 5 cars, to surround and kill Yi Xian and his party. This was the cat and mouse trick that their Sakura club was used to doing. With Ichigo Sato's order, all 18 people acted according to the pre-planned actions. In particular, the 5 snipers had long since adjusted the focus and were waiting for the target to enter the range of fire, striving for a kill. Ding! The life of the host is seriously threatened. There is a 0.002% chance of death. May I ask if the host wishes to activate X-ray tracking? Ha! A 0.002% threat to life, and it's still me. Could it be? Thinking about this, he couldn't help but recall the killer in the abandoned building and the prompt from the system in Gueshu village. It seems that something else has its eyes on him. Use it. The safety of his daughter and his woman is at stake, and Yi Xian will not be careless. He also wants to see what kind of demons dare to do anything to him. Whether it's the 2 little guys or Mu Hanshue, they are all his taboo. Not to mention the threat to life here. If he hurts even a hair on their heads, they will make the other party regret being born. After using perspective tracking, Yi Xian's field of vision also changed, with the Cadillac CT5 at the center, spreading in all directions. Soon, 5 snipers and 5 cars were exposed in Yi Xian's field of vision. With God's perspective and Ichigo Sato, a total of 19 people had nowhere to hide. Fusu people? After hearing the conversation between Ichigo Sato and the others, Yi Xian also learned the identity of the killers, which was none other than Fusu, which had a blood feud with China. To be honest, in both his past life and his current life, he has never felt the slightest bit of goodwill towards the Fuso people. When the Fuso invaded China in the past, they poisoned countless civilians and killed and injured countless soldiers defending the borders. The greatest of chivalry is for the country and the people. Although Yi Xian is not that noble and will not easily make enemies with the Fuso people, it is embarrassing that the Fuso people have come looking for trouble themselves. Now that he knows his enemy, especially the Fuso people, who he finds so objectionable, the fate of these people is already predetermined and they will not fare well. 19 people? Looking at the 19 people who didn't know when they were dead from the god's perspective, a sneer crept into the corner of his mouth. Since they chose to act, they should be prepared to die. With a hiss, he pressed the accelerator to the floor, transforming into a dark blue light and speeding off, even faster than before. Ha! Baka, how could this be? The 2 bronze medal killers from the Cherry Blossom Club in the car were stunned when they saw the flash of the dark blue Cadillac. It was fast, yes, the car they were targeting was too fast. Could it be that we've been discovered? The Cherry Blossom Club member driving the car frowned slightly. That shouldn't be the case, we were clearly following it from a distance, it's just, why did the target suddenly accelerate? Could it be that the target is also a racing expert? The 2 of them frowned slightly and then reported what had happened here, and soon received the order to attack with all their strength. Yes, Lord Silver 13. After turning off the walkie-talkie, a sinister look flashed across the lips of the bronze-level killer driving the car. I want to see how good that kid's driving skills are. Sit tight, Honkawa-kun. As the voice fell, it turned into a black ray and chased after Yi Xian, while 5 snipers on top of a building several kilometers away also got their spirits up, and once the target appeared, they would kill it on the spot.